Live and
Welcome, paranormal seekers, and let us go into the abyss. Join us to open your mind, both of your ears, and all three of your eyes, and discuss all things supernatural. We believe that we all learn from each other, and we all have a lot to learn. What will you learn today? Here are your hosts, paranormal investigator Sean Gilmore and Chaos Witch Zorina Crow.
how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Into the Abyss. Hope you're having a happy Wednesday. I'm Sean Gilmore, one of your hosts, and then we have your other host, Zorina Crow. One of these days, someone's going to say my name and have it echo like that, and it's going to be super
Say my name. We could do that whole old school kickback. Sorry, Gilmore.
This week we have awesome guests. We're just going to jump right into it. I don't have very much house cleaning due to there just isn't much going on because of COVID-19. So Jay and Marie Yates, all the way from Arizona. How's it going, guys?
We're doing good.
Thanks for having us.
Nice. Hey, no problem. I'm excited to have you guys on. You guys are actually on Paranormal Survivor. I had a case that was on there too. Guys, I love Arizona. I actually lived there for a while, and I've been to Vulture City. I know you guys have events there. We have so much to talk about. It's a lot of fun. And Zorina, she is going to make sure to not sit there and say nothing. Otherwise, I'm going to show scary shit on the screen and try and scare you.
We talked about that situation last week, so we good, bro. We good. I have caffeine, so I'm good today.
Okay, caffeine. Hey, whatever it takes.
You know, Red Bull gives me wings. What can I say?
I got 3 kids. There's not enough caffeine in the world for me to.
I think, okay, you know, this person don't steal our idea, but we need to come out with a brand of energy drinks that are just for ghost hunters. I'm telling you, we can. You listen, because we're all up on chasing ghosts. So legit, this is really something I'm working. I'm for real.
I like that idea. Now, Mike Ricksecker, he has his own coffee, which is pretty cool. But
yeah. I could drink coffee and go to sleep. I'm just saying.
You need that coffee crack stuff, right?
I do need coffee crack. I need something less than cocaine, but a little bit more than coffee.
Sounds like Red Bull or Monster. That sounds like it's right there. I think we can make this happen. We just have to get somebody to allow us to put our label on their can. That'd be cool.
There you go.
That's what you just make a koozie for. It just slides right on. I'm just saying.
Speaking of, you could probably have a koozie. Look what I got. You got a sticker. Look how cool that is. What?
Oh, that's pretty
it's
cool.
It's like matches in the corner there. And I kind of had it hung up in this last week, but couldn't really show it. We got shirts, guys. We got stuff. We're growing. We're getting big. So wanted to share that. So
it's not gonna stop.
When we have our own cannabis strain Into the Abyss, then we good.
Well, it'd have to be CBD because it's not quite legal here in Ohio.
I don't know nothing. I'm completely innocent. Where's my halo? Wait, what? Where did it go? Sorry.
So, guys, Jay and Mary, man, there's so much. I don't even know where to really start with you guys. You guys have been on Ghost Adventures, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been on Ghost Adventures now on and off for 8 years now, I think. I think 7 or 8 years, I think we've been working with them. So if we're not in front of the camera, we do a lot of location finding and stuff like that for them. So, it's been going on for a while now. I never intended for that to happen, but it did definitely happen.
That's really cool. I mean, that's That's
fun.
that's the longest running paranormal TV show. I mean, they're doing
It's
something
crazy, right? Yeah.
It's insane. And then one of their cameramen get their own show, traveling around in a motorhome.
There you go. Yeah.
He was actually on the show last year. He's a good guy. Dakota Fanny. Yeah.
Yeah. He's good, dude.
So yeah. And then so when you guys go in and you guys do like home investigations, do you guys when you're doing it, because you guys are on Paranormal Survivor quite often. Like I was on there once, and you guys have quite a few cases. Do you guys work in a case, or you guys kind of like thinking like, man, you know what? We're gonna scare this case. I know I would.
I mean, like we have to be cautious these days, like with residential cases we take, because unfortunately, a lot of people out there think that because of our frequency on television that we're very wealthy. So there's obviously legalities and things like that we have to make sure that we're being cognizant of before we enter into homes, and an extensive check that we do per individual case before we finally do an investigate. But here more than like years past, we do a lot of paranormal consultations by Skype or by phone. We just kind of a whole month of gathering contacts and names. We finally set up a day to sit down and literally talk with all these people. Because we can't investigate them all, number one. And a lot of these cases are from around the world. So we're in a great position now to be able to kind of resource out investigations to other teams, incredible teams throughout the world now, I guess. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we've been very fortunate with Haunted Case Files. With 2 seasons, I think over 12 episodes total with that alone. And then we've done, countless other shows. But I think the key to that is just having, a passion for it. If you have a passion for it, then, you end up really making some huge breakthroughs with investigations that we've taken, and then been fortunate enough to be able to share them with a larger audience, which has been some pretty awesome. There's been some ups and downs, I guess, but for the most part, it's been really rewarding, and it's being able to help people at another level now than what we were doing before. I think is really fascinating how we've kind of evolved over the years and whatnot.
I kind of relate. I've never made it as far as you guys did, as far as the number of cases that are shared. But I had cases with Ectovision Paranormal on Haunted Case Files as well. Eric McGill and Tom, they actually got to go to Canada and be filmed there. Now, since you guys are in Arizona, do they come to you guys?
No, we film a lot. I mean, all Haunted Case, both seasons that we were on.
Filmed in Canada.
We filmed in Canada. I filmed for Paranormal 911. That was in Canada. I've done a lot of work in Canada. Some of it doesn't always make it to TV right away. Some of it's like audition stuff, but Canada's the place to go to film for paranormal stuff. So I've been very fortunate to have some really good contacts out in Canada, rather. And I've done a lot of work out there myself.
Canada really is the place for paranormal shows. It really is. I'm kind of surprised, though, that they would have you go all the way out there. That's a long way. I guess that would be a long way for a camera crew to travel, too. So, the way you look at it makes sense. So that's really cool. And so I kind of know the process you guys have been through. It's really neat. And to kind of see the end product. And with that, you guys are helping locations like Vulture City.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, and that's what a lot of our passion comes from. I know Marie, she's huge into history, and all these years spending focused on just strictly residentials for the longest time. And then, commercials and historical would come up in between all that. But that was our main focus in the beginning. But to now, for the past 3 years now, almost, us focusing specifically on Vulture City. It's been cool for data collection and real research, and really looking at common trends of some of the haunting experiences that we have out there, and being able to fact check and have that location at our disposal to be able to do that it's been huge. Really understanding the paranormal even more so, I feel, at least.
I mean, going to a place like that, I think the history plays a huge role in understanding the paranormal. So, now with that, do you guys live in like the Phoenix area, or are you guys north of Phoenix, closer to Vulture City?
We're far West Valley, so we're able to get in and out of Vulture City within 20 or 30 minutes back to our home. So we're in like West Buckeye area, like so it's like far west of the valley, in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, those places in the middle of nowhere, that's where the activity is at. Those little haunted farmhouses. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true, man.
So that's so cool. And so now you guys have the Vulture City Paracon coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, this is going to be
our second year.
Yeah. So we're pretty stoked. I know a lot of people are unfortunately having to cancel a lot of their events this year, or downsized dramatically. We're not in that position. So Vulture City Paracon 2 will be happening because we are an outdoor recreational facility. So it's not like a haunted building or whatnot. We have 15 acres with over a dozen haunted buildings spread out across those 15 acres. So plenty of room for social distancing. We've put into place sanitization stations throughout the entire town, running water. We've gone to like all these extra links, which is I think going to kind of be the new norm. Unfortunately, us moving forward in the United States and everywhere in the world. So we're hoping to be able to be ahead of that curve and to continue having these paranormal conferences. The first year was super successful. It was really well recognized by some really awesome blogs that I wasn't expecting at all. So I'm really stoked about that. We're just looking forward to like seeing how it turns out this year.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona right now is like on like sort of, they've cut it down to like only 50 people for events, but it's only for the next 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything does change, yes, we'll let all of our, guests and everything know. But as of right now, I mean, it's not till the first weekend of October. So we're just praying that, everything goes well. But I mean, one thing that is good about it is we're not going to be indoors. It's going to be mostly all outdoors. And everything's going to be like, distancing from people sitting to vendors and all
social
that.
Spacing. We have, everything is just completely like been, but I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, it's good to be able to follow those. And we do the same thing. We do ghost tours regularly there. And we practice social distancing and whatnot. And it, everyone's really susceptible. Like we come out, they listen, and it's been great.
Everybody's been wearing masks. We don't make anyone wear a mask. We do, but we recommend it. But if you don't want to,
if it were an indoor, we'd have to.
Yeah, if we were indoors, but we're outdoors. But I will say most of the people that do come wear it anyways. So I mean, I think a lot of people are just playing it safe.
Which is good. We need that.
That's the truth. My grandmother's actually in a retirement community down in Scottsdale. And they're in complete lockdown. If my grandmother leaves and goes to a doctor's appointment, she is in her little condo for 2 weeks all by herself. So she hasn't been to a doctor, which probably isn't a good thing. She's like 90 and she hasn't been to her doctor forever because she's scared to be left by herself. So
that's scary. Wow.
I know. And I mean, me being in Ohio, it makes it's rough. And so but that's where they moved to retire, and she's happy. They take good care of her.
I have a uncle and an aunt that's in a nursing home, and my uncle, we just got a phone call saying that he's probably not going to make it past the week. Doesn't have corona or anything, but they're on lockdown that none of us are really going to be able to even say goodbye to him. So
it's pretty rough.
It's been a rough. I mean, I know I'm not the only one. There's tons of people I know that aren't able to see their loved ones and stuff like that. So it is. I mean, I'm glad they're being safe though. I mean, with all the nursing homes and stuff like that, because they are the ones that are, more acceptable to this. So I'm glad they're being safe with them.
Yeah,
definitely. I'm sorry to hear about your families though. That's got to be really hard. I was lucky. The last time I was in Arizona was when my grandfather passed. So I couldn't, man. I feel blessed I was able to say goodbye. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
But so you guys have like a YouTube channel or anything?
We don't really have too much out there on YouTube. Just recently, because of all the lockdown, we started up a YouTube channel called Ghost Town Lockdown. And it's pretty much encompasses investigations that we've done over the past couple months at Vulture City specifically. And we try to add some stuff and content with it like every other week or every couple weeks or whatnot. But no, most of the stuff, like I keep getting told that we need to have a bigger YouTube presence and stuff, but like it's like I always get calls to do like shows, so then like I show it on a different scale, so it's always like, well, I put it here, or I can put it in a bucket, and then later,
it's been nice, honestly, doing the YouTube thing, though. I mean,
it's much, you know, deal with production companies,
I mean,
and the networks. So
I know I got tired of being in the house, so I mean, we went ahead and started volunteering our time on the weekends at Vulture City, just because we are so honored of what they've done over there. Like, I mean, like you visited, just being part of it is amazing. I mean, like Jay said, I love history, and I love it that my kids and then hopefully my grandkids and way future will be able to see this. And I love it that we can go there, volunteer. We get to go there and investigate, you know. It gets really, I mean, exhausting being in the house all the time. So it's nice to get away over there in Vulture City.
It's definitely nice to have the outlet.
Yeah. And nobody's around, so we are totally social distancing.
We're pretty much, I think on an average month, we probably investigate in one way, shape, or form Vulture City at least 4 to 8 times.
Yeah,
at least. I mean, so we're constantly in there. So I mean, and it's not even during investigations that we're having like paranormal like stuff happen. Like,
no,
I mean, it's just like randomly just seeing shadows walking through town, or doors slamming behind you for no reason, voices, movement of objects. Over the past several months, we've identified several haunted objects throughout the town. And we're starting to form a small haunted museum, if you will, as part of the check-in. And then we use those. We bring those out during like if teams come out to book out the location. We'll share those items with them for them to see what they can get out of them, because we're still kind of scratching our head as to why a doll can emit like that high level of EMF, or how come they change temperature 14 degrees, stuff like that.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's more haunted during the day than I think at nighttime sometimes at Vulture City.
I would agree, yeah.
Well, I would think that a place like Vulture City would have more, back in its heyday, it would be more active during the day. So it would make sense to me where there would be more paranormal during the day. And when I was there, it was during the day. And I didn't bring a lot of equipment. I was there just visiting family, but I knew I was going to go somewhere in Arizona and kind of look around. So I brought just a digital recorder, and I brought a radio hack. It was actually this radio hack here. And so I ended up going to Vulture City, and it was just a place I found on a whim on the internet. I had no clue, but I was going. And so I've gotten to the little cottage that's there right by the hanging tree.
Yeah.
And
Henry's house?
Yes, that's what. I'm sorry, it's been a while, so so please correct me as I go. And so I was getting absolute no radio reception on my hack radio, and I said something. I have a video of it somewhere on Facebook, and I said something, and it said clear as day, "Get out."
That's pretty common what we hear around the town, especially here recently. Yeah.
Really? I mean, it's like it's just like is it like in that cabin itself, or is it all over the entire area?
We get that a lot now in the chapel. I don't know if it was there when you were there, because I think they just added it in July of last year. But it was originally 3 miners' cabins. And they fused it together to make one large building, and they donated it to a church in Wickenburg, which is the next neighboring town down the road. And it sat in a church parking lot for like several decades. And then last July, they donated it back to Vulture City. And it was used as a Sunday school for decades, but they needed the parking lot space again. And plus, they wanted to make sure it went back to where it came from. And here recently, on all my tours I do out of there, like it's like clockwork every time I go in there. It's like, get out, leave. What are you doing here? Go away.
It usually only does it to him. I will honestly, I mean, when I'm in there, it doesn't really tell me to get out or anything. It honestly just starts communicating with me.
Yeah.
So
and this is using like ITC, like application stuff like that. When we're in there. So but it's very specific. It's very clear. That seems to be the one spot. Hanging tree, people get some weird stuff.
I will say one of the first things that happened to us when we started investigating Boulder City is there was only 3 of us from our team that went out there one first initial time, and we like sat down and was on this picnic table, and I had the thermal camera and I was just swinging around, and the guys kept saying, "Oh, it's so nice to be out here in this area all by ourselves," and I'm like, "Yeah, we're not alone. I mean, there's like hundreds of people here. I mean, they're not alive, but they're here."
We got a guy like walking away from us through the town, not responsive.
Nope. And then the thermal, I was going north towards the hanging tree, and I got a guy's heat signature of a body swinging back and forth on the hanging tree. So that was pretty cool. I was like, that's the first time I've ever really caught anything like that serious on the actually thermal camera. So.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Sean likes to hang teddy bears from the tree. I'm sorry.
We talked about that last week.
It is a random Sean thing.
My kids brought home some teddy bears from a neighbor's house, and they're big, like people size. And I didn't want them in my house, but I put them up in a tree in my yard. So my neighbors.
And what's the rest of the story, Sean? What's the rest of the story?
What am I supposed to say?
That you burned them and creeped all your neighbors out.
I didn't burn them. I just put them in the garbage.
Oh, well, where was I in this story that I thought you set them on fire and burned them and creeped all your neighbors out?
Oh, my neighbors just got creeped out with them being in my tree. I don't know about that.
For some reason,
I mean, I should have burnt them. Now I think about it. I got a fire.
I had this whole story in my head that you had set them on fire and burned them, and your neighbors were like, "We are not effing with this dude. He is loco." I don't know where Serena was that day. Just don't mind me, y'all. Keep talking about Boulder City.
Well, you brought it up, and actually, I'm kind of scrolling through my pictures, and
and Marie was talking about hanging trees, and I don't know. I just had this vision for some reason,
Well, here.
I'm sorry. I go off on these little tangents, Marie, so I apologize. I don't know.
It's all good.
I don't know what it happened was, but so have you guys been able to like cooperate and find historical things? Now how I was told, envisioned the story, I thought it was on a rope in these trees for these bears. And then it was like this visual that I had of these poor stuffed teddy bears just swinging in the breeze.
Hang on. I'm not trying to traumatize my kids. It's bad enough they got to deal with me being a ghost hunter. There they are in the garbage.
Oh my God. I cannot drink Red Bull anymore. I'm not allowed. And now I have that song stuck in my brain from
the Teddy Bear Picnic?
No, the hanging tree from Hunger Games. You know what song I'm talking about?
The Hunger Games?
Yes, where she sings like the hanging from the hanging tree. Yeah, I'm just gonna be quiet.
I've watched that movie once, and it was a long time
I'm
ago.
crazy. I'm gonna stop talking.
Crazy. You're not allowed to stop talking. You know what happens if you stop talking? That happens.
Look, I only stop talking if I get bored. I'm just saying. So Jay and Maria are not boring. They're pretty awesome. I want to pick Maria's brain because I think she's got a lot of stuff in there. I want more creepy crap. I want the creepy.
Oh, we're actually I want to hear a little bit about kind of the history of Vulture City, and then I want to talk a little bit more because I have photos of some dolls and a doctor's table that was there when I was there. I want to know about these things.
Yeah.
That doctor's table, like there's something not right about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the town was established in what, 1863?
1863.
By Henry Wickenburg, and later on, you know, she stuck claim to it and whatnot. Went through a lot of adversity, I think, finally trying to get it going and whatnot. But it was home to about 5,000 people at its height. The only reason why it ever even shut down was war effort shifted in 1942 to World War II. So they had to shut down Vulture City. In the process of doing that, they had over 200 miles of mine shafts throughout the entire area. In those years of it being shut down, a lot of them filled up with water and they just completely broke. So it became unsafe for them to mine. It wasn't until many, many years later that they came back in and started pit mining, which is a whole different method of mining than what they were doing before. But you know, there's something like 360, I want to say, 360,000 ounces of silver and something like 320.
I have no idea on the numbers.
100 ounces.
I suck at that.
There's a lot of gold, a lot of silver, and they're still now they're mining it today. And they've been doing that for like 3 years now, and they're doing pit mining over there now. But I mean, it was a town that saw, like, you know, some hardship. In 1918, the Spanish influenza swept through the town. They practiced social distancing, wearing masks. Unfortunately,
back there in the 1918 to 1920, Arizona was hit even worse than any other states with the Spanish flu. That they, because everybody that had TB came to Arizona because they said dry air, you know, it was going to kill you. Well, when that came, everybody had TB and they ended up dying. So there was a lot of loss here in Arizona around that time for the flu, the pandemic that they had back then. So,
but the doctor that you're talking about in the doctor's office, which is conveniently located next to the brothel, you're talking about the doctor's table. I believe you're talking about the old gynecology table from the early 1900s.
Yes.
Okay, there used to be a pair of baby shoes that used to sit on that gynecology table, awkwardly enough, and they admitted their own EMF. I mean, like at levels that we couldn't even register, like, you know, like they were just off the hook. And we ended up taking them out and putting them in the museum.
Yeah.
But the gynecology table used to be, last year at this time, you were able to walk in, but because people in Instagram wanted to get on the gynecology table, we had to put a rope there so people can't.
Yeah, they broke it, taking selfies on it, that they broke it. So now no one's allowed to go like all the way in unless you're investigating with us. Then we do let people go beyond the rope. But yeah, sometimes bad things, bad people do some really horrible things for good people.
But the doctor that was there. The doctor that was there, he's kind of got like a somewhat of a dark history and past, where he used to experiment with drugs and medication on the miners. Well, he left a trail of dead bodies from Wickenburg on up through Vulture City, Dewey, and through Prescott. His last known whereabouts was in the Napa Valley Mental Hospital Cemetery. So only assume that he finally either went mad or he was experimenting himself with the drugs, leading him to that. But he left a trail of bodies. It's been said that he wasn't the nicest of doctors when dealing with some of the abortions and stuff that took place there.
They used hangers,
just like rusty stuff, and just not really caring, and just pretty nasty and article stuff. So,
and back in those days, I mean, women had to work. I mean, and that was one way for a woman, and they can't work being pregnant. It was right behind the doctor's office is actually a lot of people call it, a lot of different psychics and mediums will come and they'll say it's a baby garden. Yeah. But you can there's a shadow graves right there where a lot of the abortion babies are actually buried. So.
And I think a lot of them, what I feel, come from the brothel. A lot of the girls that got pregnant because of the Johns or whatnot, and they would it would be convenient for them just to go, and he used that, in a malicious controlling way to be able to, I guess, experiment them on them as well. And I feel like he's like in this horrible, nasty in between place of just.
Yeah.
I feel like his spirit is very vile, still.
I believe he's still there. I mean, we've got
I
audio.
will tell you, I feel that. I feel it. Yeah.
Well, here, Zarina, I'm gonna actually share some photos here, just because, like I said, I was there.
Do not do the Exorcist clip like Ron said, or you will be in a jar.
Oh, I don't want to be in a jar.
Okay, then.
And especially not one of yours. So here I'm kind of pulling these pictures up now as we're
this
talking,
is a Vulture
so people
City?
can see. Yes, these are from, yes.
Awesome, because I've never seen anything. So this is like me the first time unbiased seeing, anything from there.
Awesome. So yeah, my computer is like being like super laggy. I feel like I'm working with my work computer.
I keep hearing this old lady cough. That's what I messaged, like with a smoker's cough. She keeps like, I'm like, would you just shut up already? She's like in my ear, and I'm like, I can't. I just want to duct tape her because I'm just like, I don't know what you want, but it's not right now. I ain't got time for that.
So here. Boom.
Yeah, that's the gynecology table. Yeah.
Yep.
And this is the building. Hold on. My computer's going like super slow. That's the building.
The full building. Yeah.
And the next picture I have loaded right now is a wheelchair. It's just a cool old wheelchair. And
that wheelchair moves on its own.
Yeah, we were in there. I was in there with a small group. We were doing a ghost tour, and the baby shoes were going crazy. We all had our thing. We had it live going on Facebook, going crazy. There was two guests on the side where the right in front of the wheelchair, and they're like, something keeps hitting my leg, and I look over, and the wheelchair keeps going back and forth, hitting these guests. And we're like, okay, so we start filming that, and I'm like, yeah, that wheelchair moves.
Yeah.
Wow.
I almost feel like what I just got chills. I almost feel like it was like a nurse. There was a woman, and she was like, literally, I felt like in my head, she's like saying, get out of there. And I think because she was stuck knowing what the doctor was doing, and she was trying to get people out because she knew what a bad man he was. Does that make sense?
I have felt a lady in there myself. So, and I do believe she has been a nurse in there. So yes, I actually get that.
Thank you.
Actually, that is the one that always you smell like perfume a little bit around.
Yeah.
So
I was actually going to tell you I smelled gardenia, which was really weird because I'm not a floral person at all. And it's just like, so it's really crazy. Thank you for validating that. You're awesome.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the doctor, I will say, has last year at our Paracon, I was sort of attacked. The first time I ever had at Vulture City. Usually it's, you have doors slamming and you hear this and that and all the time. But that night, I had an incident where my dad ended up really sick, and I'm really close to my dad. And and my mom and them had to leave the Paracon and to go take care of my dad. Well, I was all like nerved up, and when you do have abilities, when you have something going on with your family, it sort of just weighs you down even more. So I told Jay, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to investigate tonight. It is not going to be safe for me to actually investigate. So Jay went in with Sherry from Ghost Hunters, and was in there with a group of people at the Paracon, and I sat in the porch area. One of our volunteers said, hey, Marie, can you come here? And I'm like, yeah, certainly. And I got up, and I was going right past this gate area, passing what's called the Roost. And I was walking past it, and I swear to you, it felt like someone literally just punched me in my gut. The volunteer seeing me, like my gut go in and me fall down, like holding my gut. And it only lasted for like a couple seconds, but the feeling of it was so impact that hurt so dang bad. I mean, it really hurt. And then all of a sudden it was gone. And then they called for Jay, And I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I get told by one of the volunteers that we just got punched in the stomach. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to go out there and take someone off the property, get the police involved. So I go running out there, and Marie's kind of doubled over a little bit, and I'm like, what's going on? And she kind of looked at me kind of weird, like not herself, and she kind of lunged towards me. And I always joke on the tours when I tell the story that I thought I was like the next victim of domestic violence because I thought she was gonna like beat the crap out of me. But then shortly thereafter, she was in so much pain. I started to walk her back to the bench, and I caught her before she collapsed. She had shallow breathing, a very weak pulse. I actually had to rush her to the hospital and leave the entire paranormal conference. She checked out after several hours. They said, I don't know what it was. Your blood work came back good. Your levels are all good. Like, it's not heat. It wasn't dehydration. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. I don't know why you're in so much pain and why you passed out. And, and I'm like, okay. But it was funny because on the Friday before all this happened, the owner was speaking during the meet and greet, and he had said that, excuse me, that there was more people in Vulture City at any given point that night than there had been in over 100 years. So Marie and I were pretty proud of that, and like, wow, that's really cool. Like, we're able to bring people to this place. That's what it was all about, is the, making people aware of Vulture City and that it's, a feasible, like, great paranormal location. And I have to only assume, though, that there is at least one of those people, those spirits that still call that place home, that maybe wasn't that happy that we did that. So, and that's what I chalked that up to, being that.
I've been told by quite a few different psychics or mediums that came and actually said it was the doctor that actually attacked me, because he doesn't appreciate that I bring all these people in to the doctor's office and people to there. So he's the one that attacked me.
But not only that, I feel like too, he has this absolute hatred towards women. It's some kind of complex, mental complex that he had, and it would derive, not only did he not appreciate that act of what you were doing, but just the mere fact that he was thinking, who is this, he did not like that you were, because women then were not assertive. Women then were to be, docile and whatever, but he saw the significance of you being very strong and not not in the way that women are technically supposed to be. And he was like, that I'm going to do something to basically put you in your place, is what I feel like his whole icky sense of it's just so gross to me, but that's how I feel it, you know what I mean? And I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It was pretty crazy. I mean, she's definitely had made contact with spirits before and had scratches, and she's gotten sick, and her being like a medium, I think that just comes with the territory sometimes. But I mean, this was next level. Like, I'm going to the hospital. I can't believe this is happening, and of all days during a paranormal conference when I got 100 people in town and I got 20 volunteers and I'm responsible for all of them. And I had to.
It's true, and it is. And I validate that with her, because she is gifted as well as I'm gifted. And it seems like we attract that kind of energy where they target us, because it's like they feel like that, if they could cut off that circuit with us, they can stop everything. So they're going to hit that main target and just to make a point. And so I've been in situations similar to that, and that's why I identified you so much when you were describing that, because it's just like I felt that with her. So I definitely empathize.
For sure. I mean,
different experience.
Yeah. When you're as an investigator, right? I'm an empath. I'm not as gifted as probably you or Zarina. But when I'm investigating as an investigator, and someone who's close to me gets jumped like that and they get attacked like that by spirit, it's scary, and you do go on the defense, and it's quite. It's a crazy thing, and that's a risk that we all take going into these places. And people don't understand that the risk is real. There's so many new investigators going into places just I'll just say balls out, right? They're going in there. They think that they're Billy Badass.
Yeah.
They think that they're freaking Zach Baggins, right? Who's been doing it for years, right?
Yeah.
And they think that
Yeah.
they could do it just because they see it on TV. And that's just not the case. And so then things like that happen. And then there's, people who like us who do go in and we are careful and it still happens. It's a real risk that we take.
You know what bothers me the most of it though? It's not so much of the physical thing. It's the mental thing for me that I felt like that they thought they could, have that permission to, violate me and to feel like it's more of that's what makes me so pissed off. It's the mental violation that usually I can deal with something, physical, but it's the mental, like, that you felt like I was weak enough that you thought you could come at me. And I'm like, that I think that's what bothers me the most. I don't know about Marie, but what is her viewpoint on that?
So real quick, I'm sorry. My curiosity is killing me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this desk, when I was there, it was behind where that brothel and the doctor's office was.
Yeah.
This is the fence that goes along behind there.
Yes.
I want
Okay.
Serena to see this. This is all behind that area. That whole, I for some reason felt like I was being pulled into that area.
Yeah.
And you guys said that there was like unmarked babies' graves back there.
Yes.
We've been told, like several people have told us.
Well, I even, from the beginning of being there, I always told Jay that there was tons of babies, really tiny babies that were buried back there. I've always been the type that without like scientific thing, I have I'm like, okay, I'd go with this way because I won't do readings. I won't do anything like that. So it's like I almost use my abilities with scientific proof too, in a way. But we haven't really gotten any proof. I will say that like any EVPs, no photos, no nothing of it. But I'm not the only one. People
going to us
all the time saying, that there's a baby great. They call it the baby garden.
Yeah.
Behind the brothel, and I'm like, I know.
And it's a very weird rectangle shaped portion of that property that's just like nothing really grows, and it's you can see it like when you're looking in the distance, that it's like there's like definitely like a certain area where nothing really grows and there's no trees there, and it's like nothing's on the top of it, nothing ever was, and it's kind of weird. And there's cactus around it like in an L shape, which is kind of weird. I don't know, but
oddly what it showed me is that we can have all the modern devices in the world and that's all great and gravy, but for some reason it showed me with you guys with the copper divining rods walking around back there, and I feel like that's going to give you the proof. It's like they're telling me to go old school, what I mean? And I feel like, especially with you, Marie, I feel like you have this immense, amazing conduit that is just like, I can feel it like come up through your feet, and it's just going to go bam, and it's just going to go like ding, 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 ding. And it's just like, I don't know. I just had that vision with you of you doing that. I don't know if you've used them before and what your experience was, but I saw it at like a very powerful moment where something connected with you with that.
We definitely haven't used rods behind it.
I've never used rods. We've never used rods behind it. We've used them in the town. Don't get me wrong, but and I honestly, it's a smart thing to do. I mean, we started bringing those a little bit more because we're more, honestly, I'm a lot old school, to be honest with you. I'm the type that likes to be completely alone in a place. Like everybody thinks, I'm scared. It's funny how some of the TV shows make me seem like I'm scared or something. I'm not. I love the dark.
Yeah, that's the opposite. That's the problem that we have, is that Marie fears nothing.
I don't fear anything. It's like I'd rather be in that dark place all by myself, not around anybody, because that's when I'm able to feel my own abilities, rather than having all these obelisks and all these other teens going off and, and don't get me wrong, they're amazing.
Yeah.
I know, people on our tours love that stuff.
It makes for a great TV show.
It does it looks good on TV. But for me, I am very old school. I like bells on doors. I like the rods now. We like doing old school stuff on stuff, and that's what Jay and I do a lot now.
And I love that. I'm sorry, Sean. I just love that aspect with her that she takes it back like that. And I think that's why I was given that vision, because I know that, like you said, sometimes it's portrayed on TV that you're this and that way. But I know my God showed me differently. I said, you don't mess with her. She got some crazy. She got some gravy with her, so I'm just saying.
The one that screams like a girl is him.
You know what's funny?
Because he does bad stuff to Zarina.
What?
Yeah. You heard
So
me.
on Haunted Case Files, they got me screaming. I had my RT recorder on. I probably tell this story a lot, and Marcus Hogg sneezed, and I was just like in high alert mode, right? You know when you're feeling the energy all around you, and you just feel like something's gonna jump out on you. And so I had my RT recorders on, so everything's louder. And I go and I peek around the door, and Marcus sneezes, the loudest sneeze I ever heard in my life, and it scared the crap out of me. You know what Haunted Case Files did? They turned it into something demonic, and they showed me screaming. I'm like, what? Come on, guys. But hey, it's entertainment. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that happens. I mean, we always tell people on the storytelling shows that we do, listen to what we're saying, and not what our
Right.
doing, because oftentimes it might be a little bit different, or it might just get missing in translation. I know that Marie and I, there's that one episode that we did at her mother's home, and Marie lost consciousness and stopped breathing, and I freaked out, screaming at my camera guy, why are you still recording? And he's like, you told me if I stopped recording, I was off the team. And I'm like, no, she's dying, dude. We need to get her out of this house. And eventually he set down the camera. He was the one that picked her up and walked her out of the house. I didn't. But on Haunted Case Files, it did show me doing it, which I looked very heroic, and it was pretty awesome. Plus, I was really thin and fit. My character looked like Nick Groff, which I don't know why, because I look nothing like this guy. But it was pretty cool. But unfortunately, I didn't bring her out of the building because I was having.
I will say it was strange that when we did Haunted Case Files 1, there was a lot of. We wouldn't do any. Them writing up screens and us saying whatever they wanted us to say. We're like, no, we'll say what happened.
Yeah.
And we just say it like that. And then another thing is I wouldn't say stuff they wanted me to say. So it's surprising that they even had us back on, but they actually enjoyed, I guess, how we did that. And I guess we're blessed. We got a lot of fans from it, and wanted us back on.
We've done so much storytelling that we're knocking out 4 episodes in an afternoon. I mean, that's how fast.
I wouldn't let them. They kept saying, trying to get the demon thing out of me, and I'm like, well, if you a little bit longer, what would have happened? Probably would have caught more evidence, hopefully. You're not going to get the D word out of me there. Sorry. They tried.
You know what, though? What I tell people all the time in the paranormal community is that, and we all as paranormal investigators, we watch these reality shows, and we go, oh, this is garbage, and we critique them. But those shows aren't developed for paranormal investigators. They're for fans of the paranormal. Yep. And that's what everyone is like. Paranormal is that it has nothing to do with you as a paranormal investigator, and you're not the one giving them the ratings. It's the fans that are giving the ratings, and people that don't know anything about it, so they don't understand. That's why you have to set everything up and explain everything, from the beginning at a small kindergarten level of this is a K2 meter and this is what it does.
I wouldn't say some of our cases, yes, we did deal with something that, I honestly say how many cases we've dealt with. I honestly will only say 2 are demonic, and I can't even count. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases where even say demonic. And we did have them on Haunted Case Files.
Yeah, we had
so don't get me wrong. There was some on there, but nothing really else was. I mean, it was just they tried to turn it into that.
That's literally like they're looking for the worst of the worst of the worst. So and then
Yeah, because they want to make ratings.
They want it to be scary. They want it to be scary. That they did that with the case that I was on. They were trying to get me to say stuff too to make it more scary, and I'm just like, yeah, that's not what happened. They're like, yeah, but I'm like, yeah, but. So I just kind of like looked at him. I'm like, so you tell me what you want me to say, and I'll see what I can.
Yeah.
So
I would mess with them. The directors, I mean, to this day, Jay's actually really good friends with them. I said, you just can't handle the truth. And I kept saying that because they wanted me to say other stuff. And I'm like, I would just throw out.
But at the end of the day, though, every one of our stories gets very high like ratings and a huge outpouring from fans. So it's like awesome. What we put forward is honesty, and our integrity has always been number one with everything that we've done. So I've never said anything that wasn't the truth or to the best of my knowledge, because I just know that it just takes one time for you to say something stupid, and the next thing you know, your credibility is running the field. Because at the end of this, if you really are passionate about the paranormal, you got to go back to the field, and you know how this field is. Like, we don't deal with stuff like that.
That's the truth. Yeah, if you go to the store I was in, you'll see it's not scary. It's very honest, and I just wouldn't budge. And they actually left out key parts that I wanted to add in, which I understand why. There's certain things you got to keep PC, but it was key parts of the case. The thing was the guy that was living in the house was racist, and they were in a black community, and their spirits of probably black people. So but they wouldn't let me explain that because they wanted to keep it PC. So that was but real quick, I want to get back to Vulture City because another part that I'm curious about, this building. Right?
That's
the assay office right there. That's a lot. Yeah, that's the upstairs.
That's actually you have to come back now. That's completely redone.
It was roped off. I couldn't go up there. And I'm like, I need to go up there. I need to go up there. What is up there? What's up there? Yeah.
And old ladies up there.
There's definitely that building. A lot of people tell me all kinds of claims from it. I swear to you, I've tried so hard to have an experience out of there. I have experiences. We were filming for what was it, Yahoo or some kind of show from Yahoo, Hidden Highways or some, I don't know what it was called. I don't even remember. But like we had the production company out there, and like doors were slamming in the building while we were inside, no wind outside. But the story goes up there is that there was allegedly a paranormal investigator that was taunting the spirits, and he got attacked and he got thrown down the stairs. That happened a couple years before we came in. Plus, women that go in that building feel uncomfortable, that there's a male presence. They feel nauseous. Sometimes they run out of the building. Sometimes they won't go in the building.
I will say that building, out of all the buildings, that is the one building I do not go into very often. Don't get me wrong, it ain't that I'm scared of it. To be honest with you, it's more or less a respect thing, I think. They just don't want women in there. And like she was really saying before, back then, women were looked down on. Women couldn't come into places like that. So when these spirits are there, like, why are you in here? Because men aren't getting this feeling. It's all women. So it's just, out of me, it's a courtesy thing, a respect. They really just don't want the women. So I let like my husband or our son and some other team members usually investigate that one a lot, just because of it. Because I always do. I feel like there is somebody pressed right on the back of me, like, get out. It ain't like, I don't think they would want to harm me. I just feel like, you get out. You're disrespecting me, get out. And that's what I feel.
Yeah,
that's where the vault is. It's in that building. Yeah. So that's where, in the mine, that's where they would keep their gold and their valuables. It was in that area. So that would make sense that they wouldn't allow women in that area. That's the office area. That's the, I'm sure that people would break in there and they'd probably get hung on the hanging tree, which I found a picture of too. And here we go. Aha.
Yep.
So My profile picture is actually in front of that hanging tree for a while. That place is so cool. I've always said, like, I want to go investigate an old mining town and I want to investigate an old mine. Have you guys ever gotten to do a mine and living in Arizona?
We've been through some mines, Vulture City, they just opened a 200-foot deep mine
Well, it's
shaft.
not open yet. It's going to
Well,
be.
they're about ready to open it up. But you're not gonna, you can't actually go down into it. But they are putting a grate over the top of it where you can literally stand suspended over it. To my understanding, it's going to be lit. I've requested that there be a little hole put on the top of it where you can like lower down and audio recorders.
That's a great idea.
Because I'm just curious what we can get out of it. We've been lucky. We had a few.
I mean, we've investigated over there, and we've gotten a lot of like men talking and stuff like that on EVPs and stuff like that. I remember one time when we were over there, I was actually even right next to it. Jay and one of the other workers there were standing off and talking about something, and I heard a man coughing. And you think about it, I mean, miners probably did cough a lot. I mean, back in the day, being down there in the ground and everything like that, but it just sounded like a deep cough. And I'm thinking, like, okay, who else is over here? And I'm sitting here saying hello, and here's Jay and them staring at me like I was weird. But I'm like, I was just hearing coughing. So, but I mean, so.
Another thing that happens too with women is in front of the blacksmith down that road that leads into the main town of Vulture City is rocks get thrown. And it's specifically at women. Like, it's not like guys don't ever report it. It's women saying they got rocks thrown at them. It's never like above the waist either. It's like almost like someone kicking the rocks, I guess.
Yeah, kicking the rocks like you're beneath me.
Yeah.
So get out of here.
Kind of. Huh?
Yeah. I feel that way a lot of times in some of the places. I think it has to do with like she was saying, like women that are a little bit stronger.
Yes.
I mean, and to be honest with you, I will say I'm not one of those weak women. I mean, poor man here has to deal with it. No way. I mean, I don't put up with
zero
nothing.
control.
It takes a good man to deal with the type of women that we are. I will tell you that, because what we do is on a whole other level, and you know, you got to have one of those.
Now, with that, I gotta ask about this area. This is where I almost got in trouble. Was for this area, I felt kind of drawn to these buildings. Here, if it's gonna load, there it is. There's one there. I don't know what that is. That's off in the distance. That's past the fence.
That's the peak right there. Yeah.
Oh, that's
go there.
That's the generator room. The generator.
Yeah, those are all on the mine side.
Yeah, those
right
are on
now.
the mine side right now.
You're not allowed there. You're not allowed there. I was reminded of this sign very quickly, because I literally took one step past the fence just to try and get a little bit closer because I just felt drawn, and they yelled at me. I was like, well, do you guys ever let anybody back there? And they're like, no, go away. And I was like, okay. So I mean, they were all very nice. Don't get me wrong. I was breaking the rule, and I didn't even mean to, but I was. So I understood. And actually, there's a young kid there. He was awesome. That's who I talked to.
Aiden.
I don't know, but he went digging for my shirt because I'm short and fat. So I was like, I need a short and fat size, and he went digging for me, man. And he found it.
Right, Aiden. Yeah.
He actually lives on the property with
His dad. Yeah, his dad and them. They're the like more or less the caregivers on there all the time for security and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, we've been granted things to do out and investigate some of those buildings, but they won't let like anyone else on this property just because it is. And people need to remind, and we tell people this all the time, it's an active gold mine. And they're constantly blowing things over there. So, I mean, it's very unsafe. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to go into the shafts because that's what everybody talks about. Oh, I used to go over there and we used to go in the shafts. Well, half of those shafts are gone.
Yeah.
They're all blown because they're pit mining now. So there's nothing really left anymore.
Well, the hope is that Vulture City ghost town will one day regain the land to the south that you're showing there in those photographs, and then us be able to hopefully remodel and get those back up to par like we have the other ones. So hopefully in the future, the mine will eventually say, hey, we don't need this portion anymore. And then we'll be able to add that to the town where it should be, So,
well, luckily it's in the desert, and that hot sand, the hot sun it's dry. You don't have to worry about it. Like up here, up north, the moisture ruins everything.
Oh yeah,
the desert preserves everything. Like actually, sometimes there's one background that I use. Today's background is from one of the other small outbuildings. I think it was the post office, where I got a picture of this window here. And then, Melvin's here. Hi, Melvin. And but it's of one of the old cars. It's amazing how preserved these cars are.
Yeah, we get told that a lot. We have a lot of car guys that come out there, and guys that are into like machines, and we definitely get.
I think a lot of people come from like back east, because I'm from actually the Midwest. To be honest with you, I was born a Hoosier. I mean, I lived in Michigan for many years, and then I moved out here about 20 years ago. But I will say, I remember back in the day when being in Midwest, you never could find those old cars. They're all rusted and getting the Bondo and all this stuff on it. Here in Arizona, that's not really what you have to do. I mean, the cars really last, so it is nice. But there is a lot of different stuff that they have at Vulture. It's really cool to see.
Well, they keep adding too, so.
I wanted to ask, did it have a general store back then?
There it is.
Yes. Yes, they used to have a general store. They actually had a couple. The property of Vulture City was actually a lot bigger than even the 15 acres. There's a road called Vulture City. Vulture City actually was even on the other side of the road. It was beyond the mountain and everything. It was just covered. There was like, I think there was like 4 or 5 different stores. There was like 2 hotels.
There was like 3 saloons.
Yeah, 3 saloons, all that kind of stuff. So one of the hotels buildings was actually picked up and moved to Wickenburg. It is actually an antique store in Wickenburg now. But that used to be a hotel right there on Vulture City.
Oh, I'd love for them to bring that back, because that place is so haunted.
Yeah, that place is very haunted.
Seriously.
I mean, a lot of it has to do with the antiques, isn't it, too?
No, that probably has a lot to do with it.
Well, Wickenburg is an interesting little town. I'd spent very little time driving through there. But I'll tell you what, there's this. I drove down these side streets, and I ended up finding this old cemetery. Wow, that town is just. And then I ended up going over this bridge, and it was just like. It's like this is like the type of town, like spooky old town that you think that you like dream of, and or you read about in books.
Yep.
It's a really cool place. I mean, if anybody has a chance to go, even if it's for a day tour, and you guys do night tours too, right?
Yeah,
yes.
we do ghost tours, ghost and legend tours twice a month publicly, and then we book out all the other days with private ghost tours and private ghost hunts and filming and whatnot. We just recently filmed with a show called Gold Rush that came out. So they came out. A couple of their cast members came out. We weren't in front of the camera. We were behind the scenes, but we helped with that production. That was pretty awesome. So we're looking forward to see like what they have to say about Vulture City, but it will definitely be on that new show that's coming up with, what's his name, Dave Turner?
I don't know. You're the one that watches the show.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, is there any stories about a little girl, like around 7 or 8? Because for some reason, I see this blonde little girl with like a ribbon in her hair, and she has like this, that pinafore like type, dress on, and she just, I feel like I see her following Marie and tugging at her shirt, and that I just feel like she tries to get your attention, but for some reason I feel like she died like when she was like around 7 or 8, maybe because of whatever. But I just feel her so intently drawn to you for some reason. So am I right to say?
Yes.
No, like you're freaking me out, man.
Her name is Izzy.
Well, let me tell the story about Izzy real quick in the beginning, okay? Because about 6 months ago, maybe.
I think it was more than that, but
okay. So we have a 2-story house in Buckeye. I'm downstairs. Marie and I fall asleep downstairs. I wake up to one of my cats like crying, and to get into my son's room is what I think. So I'm yelling to my son, who's like 18 years old, hey, let the cat in your room, please. So she'll shut up, right? And no response. So I walk halfway up the landing, and I notice his door shut. Well, that's why he can't hear me. Well, then I start hearing a little girl saying, hey, pretty kitty, hey, kitty, kitty, kitty. And about that age, right, you know? So I slowly walk back downstairs. I sat down, and Marie says, hey, you ready to go? She wakes up. She's like, you ready to go upstairs and go to bed? And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm fine here tonight. And long story short, the next day she was doing laundry, and then I said, hey, babe, did you know that we got a girl ghost in our house now? And she's like, oh, yeah, her name's Izzy. She took a liking to me. She follows me home from Vulture City. I said, you've been in Vulture City for 2 freaking years. You haven't told me about this little girl. But since then, she actually calls me daddy, which is weird. What do you tell her that story? I just can't believe
Izzy, I mean, to be honest with you, for the longest time, Izzy doesn't, not like, oh, she misses her mom, because her mom's there. Margaret is her mom. She's there at Vulture. The dad just left them and never came back. She's finally, after so long, they died of starvation. To be honest with you. And I'm like, okay. And she just always follows us home. She feels at ease. I think a lot of it has to do with I'm a mom. I mean, to be honest with you, I take great pride of being a mom of 3 boys. And I mean, it's just my whole world is my children. I mean, they're all grown now. I mean, my youngest is 19, but I mean, till this day, I mean, I don't care. My oldest is 26 and he's still my baby. So I think she just draws close to that, feeling that, feels, able to come to our house and visit. She loves playing with our animals. And then now, and she's bonded with Jay now.
It's amazing. So I use ITC during the tours, and it's like clockwork, dude. All I got to do is just say, "Hey, Izzy, can you come out and talk with us for a little bit?" Yeah, I'm coming. Hi, Daddy. I'm serious. It's
and that's what I feel like. She's assimilated. Go
ahead. That's Izzy.
No,
that's fucking Izzy. That's Izzy's dolly.
That's
Dolly.
I knew it. I was like, holy shit, they're talking about this doll. Like, oh, Zarina.
So what I wanted to say is I see her assimilated.
Zarina says I'm leveling up, and she's training me because I'm leveling up, and I'm like, you're talking about this girl, and I was like, holy crap, that's the doll. That's the doll.
Sean, I am so proud of you right now. You get 5 gold stars and a heart. Look, see, but no, what I was gonna say,
there is signs of children all over that place.
Yeah,
and if you think about how things were in the desert, I mean, that Vulture City was in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of the desert, and people are bringing their children there, and and if the mind is unsafe now, think about how unsafe it was back then. This is, I mean, as me being a parent, my kids are younger, so I'm on high alert. My youngest is 6, my oldest is 11, so like I'm on like high alert. I'm like, good, that's not safe. So and plus
well, I'd say the cemetery that's close to Vulture City, that's actually Vulture City Cemetery. About 90% of it is children. They're buried in there. And a lot of it, 90% of them died because of the influenza in 1918. There was a percentage, there's some that died from a stagecoach that got attacked by the Native American. Then there was a couple other ones that died from other reasons, but like 90% of it is because of the flu.
Which is crazy too, because like we talk about like the coronavirus going on now,
right?
Then like literally a nurse was given orders by the doctor to stay quarantined for 14 days because they had the influenza. Well, this person ignored the orders of the doctor and went and kind of went throughout the town and helped to spread the influenza, which led to a lot of these, but they're very much so familiar with masks in town, like in the spacing.
And it says you'll hear coronavirus on recording.
Weird.
It's like I've caught that quite a few times.
They're very aware of what's happening.
What year was the Spanish flu?
1918
to 1920.
Guess what year my house was built in?
Weird.
1918.
No kidding. We live in an old house.
Yeah, I do.
My house was built like 5 years ago.
I do. I live in an old farmhouse. My house is the first house on the block, and
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah. So
I remember back in Indiana, the houses that, not me, we lived in a trailer park, me and my family.
hey,
Not
before I
me.
bought this house, I lived in a trailer park too. No shame. That's all right.
Yeah, but my friends, I remember going and visiting my friends all the time, and their houses were these old farmhouses that like had like 4 different stairs going up, and yeah, it was creepy all the time. I remember that.
It's different. I mean, like out here, you don't get that. I mean, the fact that like we have like buildings in Vulture City there from 1960 or 1860s, that's huge. Like we don't see that here. Like that's old, like for us. But back there, you get further back east, it's obviously
I just remember those houses being old.
It is, and we would get. I had the first house that I really remember that I was connected to. It was an old Victorian house with the black iron gate. It had the basement. It had like 2 or 3 different levels to it, and then you go up this winding staircase up into the attic where there's this belfry. Absolute witchy house. Now I would love to go back and buy that house because I'm totally a witchy chick. But when I'm 6 years old and I'm freaking out and how like we got under the blankets, like, oh my God, what is this thing? It's like standing over top of me, So
it's funny. It is funny because with us being in the paranormal field, we work with so many different people. And back where I'm from, there's a lot of people will talk about these locations, and I'd be like, oh, I used to hang out there all the time. And growing up, I did not have anything to do with paranormal. We always say that I married into the dark side because I didn't have any of the paranormal stuff until I met him. And but I was like growing up, it was like there was this park called Oxbow Park. And people have paranormal events and they investigate it. That was a daily thing that I went to and visited on a daily basis.
I always say she was always drawn to this type of stuff. I just kind of helped guide her in the right direction, let's just say.
And I
screwed up her life, one or the other.
I always was drawn to like abandoned buildings. I mean, it wasn't, to be honest with you, back then it was like, oh, we're going to turn this into a playhouse, but it was always an abandoned playhouse. Playhouse, and all my friends were like, I ain't going in that thing. It's creepy. I'm like, well, come on. We have a whole house to ourselves. But yeah, I was always the daring one.
And that's how I was always the first one into creepy stuff. And like, I'm like, like when I got into my teenage years, it was so funny because I just really, I guess, kind of embraced or started embracing who I was. And it was just like, it was a normal thing for me, to kind of stick my finger into stuff. And I had, my best friend, Dawn, and like we would be the kids that started, like doing the Kiss LP in reverse to figure out what they were saying, or we were just like, let's find out, let's hit every crazy thing that we can do because I want to know, And then her mom caught us. We both got our butts whooped. But
I remember that. Me and my sister went out and got that record and tried to play it backwards. I remember that. My mama got a hold of me too.
Put it in the Teddy Ruxpin.
Yes, I literally I felt that spanking for like 2 weeks. I had switches. I mean, you know how they make the switches. Yeah,
I remember even another thing. True Life Crew cassette. Oh my gosh! Oh, that was like, it was something you weren't supposed to get, and I went and got it. And my mama,
well, my first taboo thing was Madonna Like a Virgin. My mom would not let me have that. My auntie went out and got it for me, and my mom was so mad because I got Madonna Like a Virgin. Like, I was so corruptible at that point by Madonna. I'm like, Mama, you don't even know what I've been doing.
I was obsessed with Madonna. My mom hated it. Yep.
Yeah.
My mom will tell me I was always the troublemaker, and I'm like, hey, I was not. My sister was the one that yelled at you. I just did stuff that you told me not to do, but I did it behind your back at least.
And then it all went downhill when I went to Ozzy Osbourne, No Rest for the Wicked. That was it. I was a metalhead straight out, like huge Aquanet hair, man. And Alice Cooper. I was like, there was no redemption for me after that point.
I remember the Aquanet hair. Yep. The higher your hair, the better it was. I remember
Yes,
that.
and the best blowtorch ever. I'm telling you. I don't know how we did not set our houses on fire with that stuff, because I remember literally blowtorching stuff with that stuff.
I still don't even know how I have actually real hair.
I know. I'm telling you, we set some stuff on fire. I'm not going to lie. Sean, what are you doing over there? Are you like gold mining?
I'm listening to you guys, and I don't know. Like I'm thinking back. I'm like, you know what? I was actually thinking back to, like, I think it was like 1989 when I first had like a whole music video on MTV at living with my grandparents when I was a kid. And like Nine Inch Nails is like one of my favorite bands, and so
Yes.
like I was like, wow. Like, you think back to then, and like at the same time, I had a huge crush on Debbie Gibson because she was freaking hot, man.
Oh my
God. She's like
Sean, Debbie Gibson, really?
She was hot, dude. Turn the
I
volume
thought you were
down.
going to say Tiffany.
Tiffany was hot too. I mean, she's like, you know, it's like Britney Spears of the '90s. You just turn the volume down, and it's good to watch. You know.
That's funny.
I've always been like, my mom put me to sleep to Pink Floyd. Like, I've always been in the rock and stuff.
Yeah.
The first cassette I ever bought of my own was Guns N' Roses. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, both together. So, but I might be like dating myself, but that was back in 1980 something.
I was definitely a Motley Crue girl. I went to every hair band there ever was. I swear to Jesus, even Striper, which was really sad.
I remember Striper too. I have Striper on my phone.
And then
you can't make this.
My
favorite thing was Metallica.
Oh my God! Yes.
Master of Puppets.
Yes, I saw Metallica in concert.
Best album.
It was amazing. It was like phenomenal.
Oh, I saw them here at a Blossom. It's a big outdoor music venue. Dude, people were like climbing all over the stuff. They were climbing on top of the venue. They were that was a crazy year for concerts, because after that year, like, people weren't allowed to bring blankets in. People were like burning them. People were they were like using them as like parachutes and like throw people up in the air. It was all it was that. And they, like, Green Day, the same year, Green Day played for $5. This is when Dookie came out. So this is like 1990 something, 1995 or something. I don't know. But it was a $5 concert, and like, oh my gosh, it was insane. Like, people were burning blankets, were throwing each other up in the air. People like as soon as Green Day came on, like, people just started throwing grass. It was raining grass. Like you couldn't not get grass.
Like green grass or the grass?
It was green grass.
Oh.
But
that's
another discussion for another time. You keep on wanting to like go down this rabbit hole, and I'm trying to trying to keep it legal here. So,
I have no idea what
we don't need to know. Actually, that concert is actually the most stoned I ever got, and I never got that stoned again. But that's a whole other discussion. I was a teen. I was a young kid then, you know. Like,
you were like what? How old when you were that?
I don't know, like 14, 15, I don't know. 13,
14, 15?
Somewhere in the young teens. Mm-hmm.
I'm old as dirt, man. I'm like,
you are. You're old.
My oldest child was born in 94, so that tells you my age.
I don't know. I have this like.
I was born in 79. I'm 41, so I'm proud.
I am not telling you when I'm born.
That's why you're 25.
No.
You're 25.
Yes, according to my Facebook, one of those little quiz things, but it also says I'm 99% a psychopath. So I don't know what is really legit on those things. I'm not,
I used to say 29 and holding, but my son tells me, Mom, I'm 26. You cannot say 29 and holding anymore. I'm like, well, you magically just appeared.
That's funny.
I'm just at this point going to start reversing my age, and you know, and like go backwards. Like, what is that, Betty, the button dude? You know what I'm talking about with
Benjamin Button.
Yes, Benjamin Button. I'm gonna go backwards.
That would be kind of cool, actually, but I don't know. Like,
I don't want to go
weird.
back.
I don't want to go. I just don't want to get older. That's where I'm at. I want to get skinnier, and I want to not be older. That's all.
Like physically or mentally older?
Both.
Look, I already have part.
And I want to return my back surgery. I want to give it back. I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
I would like a new body, because I'll tell you what, getting older, your body just starts cracking everywhere. It's like, honestly, I feel like Cracker Jacks.
Mine cracks like glow sticks. I don't know what you're talking about. Mine's like,
I know, I wonder, you wonder why I'm not glowing like a glow stick, how much I pop all the time.
I know, and I'm just like, I never thought it would come the day when I could say, oh, I feel the rain coming. They used to say, them old folks used to say that, when we grew up in those towns, and you were like, look at them when you're a kid, like, what you talking about? I'm like, I know what they're talking about now, because I know when that rain's coming.
No, you know
he
what?
He used to make fun of me that way. He used to, all the time.
Now I'm paying for it.
Yeah. I hurt my knee when I was at overnight camp. And I never did anything about it. I was a kid. I just kept on playing on it. And I knew if I ever say something, they'd send me home. And I was not going home. And so I just kept on going on this hurt knee. And so now, ever since I was younger, I could tell whenever it was going to rain, my knee would start to hurt. So it's a real thing.
I messed mine up in band camp. So I'm just
let's talk about band camp.
I did legitimately. I swear, messing up in band camp. So I'm just saying.
They froze.
What?
Look at that. So you bring up band camp and bad things.
I know that's our magic word, band camp. That's our safe word, band camp.
Oh God. As long as it doesn't involve a flute.
What's sad is these kids these days wouldn't even know what that means.
I know. It's they don't get the apple pie reference. It's like, come on.
Oh, Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt.
I know.
Yeah, no one gets it. I'll say stuff to my son, and he just looks at me like, huh? And I'm like, okay, go. Never mind. I call them a snowflake because I swear they melt under pressure.
That's because movies and stuff, the comedies, they aren't the same. Nothing's as good anymore. Cartoons suck. Everything sucks. My kids watch YouTube videos of other kids playing with their toys. Kids can't even play with their own damn toys these days. It's freaking ridiculous. My son watches other kids play Fortnite on YouTube. It's like, dude, play your own video game. What is that?
Fortnite.
Come on. Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Let's come on. You want to play a real video game? Here, let's play some freaking GoldenEye. Let's see how you do there. I'll get you at the PP7.
I have a question for each of you. I have a question for each of you. My favorite movie quote is from Roddy Piper in Them. And it says, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. What is each of you guys' favorite movie quote?
Ooh, nice.
Oh my goodness. What's your favorite movie quote?
Mine is from Aliens with Bill Paxton when he's like, we're in some real pretty shit now, guys, now aren't we? When he starts screaming.
That was a good impression. You did that really well.
He could do some good ones.
He did. I swear that sounded like Bill Paxton. That was good.
I mean, honestly, the only one I really use on the movies probably was like, "You can't handle the truth." You know, I always say that to people all the time. So I think that's probably the one I would say. I will honestly say,
You're terrible with movie references.
I am really bad with movie
I
references
speak in movie references
all the time, and I'm
to
like,
a ghost that doesn't even talk
I'm like,
back.
what? And don't get me wrong, like he'll say, "Oh, you haven't watched this. Let's sit down and watch it." I'm like, "Oh, I already seen this." But I don't. I guess I just.
I have
don't
to
know.
send you YouTube links for you to understand what I'm saying.
Right. My favorite quote is from a movie called Snatch, and he says, "Who took the jam out of your donut?" That's my favorite quote.
That's a good movie.
I am definitely going to use that for the rest of my life now. Who took the jam out of your donut? I need a T-shirt with that on it now.
Yeah.
Jam out of your
I love that
donut.
quote.
I know. That was just an aha moment. That was life changing for me, Sean Gilmore.
I'm happy to oblige. I'm full of all sorts of unuseful nonsense up in here.
I'm right here, this man.
Jay, we're like, oh my God, what did they get ourselves into? A shot.
Well,
We've literally
right
been
in.
bullshitting about anything but the paranormal for at least 15 minutes.
Okay, but that's my fault. I take full
It is.
responsibility.
It's all.
I derailed the train track, so Serena takes the blame.
Hey, we warned them before the show. We go down many different.
I think we do this to a lot of radio shows. We're on the talked about paranormal, and I will tell you, probably about 15 to 30 minutes of the show, we're not talking about paranormal.
So let me ask you a question, because you guys are out in Arizona, and you do, with Vulture City and everything with the ghost aspect of it. Now, on the other coin side of, because Arizona is where it is, and mountains and desert regions, do you guys ever get anything regarding alien stuff out there? And people talking
I was going to ask about that too.
Look, I know I had a psychic.
There's actually some really cool sightings that have been reported kind of recently from Arizona. We
actually, in the past probably year or so, have been turning our cameras from ground level to the skies in and around Vulture City specifically because of some of the phenomenon that we're seeing now. We were on a tour. We had about 40 people on a tour. Then we were all leaving to go back up the parking lot. It's dark out. Like, you can't see them, but you see all the stars in the sky. And we all had seen what we thought was a shooting star come down, and then it shot straight up in front of all of us. Everyone stopped walking. Everyone just kind of looked at each other, and we're like, did we just now see that? Probably earlier on this year, I made a Facebook post about a sighting I had at Vulture City. I was there. There was a film crew out filming for an internet show or whatnot, and I was out there kind of like helping with the whole process and everything. And I happened to look up, and the only way I could describe it is I saw what only way I describe it sounds crazy, but it looked like the bottom of the Millennium Falcon, and it shot across the skyline, the full skyline, in a matter of maybe 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds tops. And I mean, I was there. My son saw it with me, which I'm glad he did, because I would have thought I was going insane.
I still think you're going insane.
Marie, she doesn't believe in the aerial stuff as much. She thinks it's more like
Air Force. I mean, I'm an Air Force brat. My dad's Air Force. We live really close to Luke Air Force Base. The mountain that is practically like in front of, I guess would be north or east.
Southeast.
Yeah, of Vulture City is right beyond that. On the other side is Luke Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I totally believe in, I do.
Plus, there's a Toyota Proving Grounds that's like 15 minutes away.
Yeah, so, I'm not saying there is nothing out there that's unknown. I know there is unexplained stuff. The Phoenix the Phoenix Lights.
I saw the Phoenix Lights.
Nice.
Yeah, there's tons of things that are happening here. I can't explain it myself. I just will say most of my things. I will say, okay, where you're pointing it at, Luke Air Force Base is there. There's something, and I'm sorry to say, everybody's like, oh, well, we talked to the Air Force. They did. Well, they're not going to tell you everything that's flying up in the sky. Sorry to tell you. It's confident. They can't say it, but I will say, I know that night when we were there,
You saw that.
I saw that, and it was
that.
the first time I will honestly say, okay. I mean,
I'm not trying to say it's aliens, but it's aliens.
So it's aliens.
Awesome.
I
You know what's
Jack could do that. So
you know what's really cool is a friend of mine. He's a college professor, and he does a thing called History and Headlines. And he actually, I just helped him with a video talking about Roswell. And I'm sure with you being Air Force, Brett, and all, my dad was in the Navy, so I kind of understand. But it's just I personally think that there's no way we could be the only intelligent life forms in all of outer space, and for us to think that there can't be anything more intelligent or more, maybe not more intelligent, but further advanced than us, I think would kind of be closed-minded in my opinion, because I mean it's just so vast. I mean, when you think about the size of outer space, we're literally the size of the dirt underneath someone's fingernail. You know, it makes us so small. So I don't know. This is one of those things that like kept me up when I was a kid. Like more than the ghosts that made noises. Like I would like get in these like thoughts, and so I don't know. I think that then when I lived in Phoenix, I lived in North Phoenix for a while. I would ride my mountain bike into the desert, and I would always end up over by this one peak, so I could go up there and just look up at the sky, and I would just find a spot and just chill for hours and just look at the sky.
I just want to say something really quick. We're not doing any personal readings right now, so we just need to kind of reserve any of those types of questions, you know, maybe to after the show or something personal, because we just need to make sure we stay focused with that. Okay.
Yes, hit up Zarina. She'll be more than happy to give you a reading.
Zarina's on vacation, baby.
Oh, fine. Don't hit up Zarina. Hey, you know what? If you want a reading, I know. I'm sure that Jay and Marie can help as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good psychics. I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. But
yeah.
We're talking about aliens and stuff in the desert.
Yeah.
So,
I will say it is true. I will tell you, Jay watches a lot of the history things of like the pyramids and all that. And after you really sit back and you, even from what you've learned in school, to be honest with you, I almost feel like school back then didn't teach you everything the correct way.
Oh, no.
It's like you watch these histories. I'm like, I don't remember them saying that. But like, honestly, it is pretty interesting back in the day, like what the pyramids, how they did the pyramids and how they did so many other things.
Well, the petroglyphs showing things in the sky.
It just.
I grew up being. Yeah, like you see those little like petroglyphs and stuff where there's like little UFOs and cigar-shaped things that were flying. You have to we have the Hopi Indians here that, there's so many stories. You just go on and on and on about it that help to bridge the gap. But I believe that when we're dealing with aliens and we're dealing with the paranormal, that there's a huge bleed through. I believe that it's more closely related than we'd like to. Not all of us really agree with this, but I think we're seeing more and more people kind of like coming to that conclusion where we find these haunted locations and then we're seeing stuff aerially above these things as well, which makes me wonder like what's going on. Plus, I grew up very much so haunted, and I've had some very dark things follow me ever since I can remember. And these demonic type entities that I've seen in my own personal life very closely resemble what we consider to be grays, or what the cookie cutter image of what a gray would look like. Before I even knew what a gray was, I was drawing these things. This is what I was seeing as a child. So do I believe I was abducted by aliens? Not really, but I believe that.
Hey, maybe we can figure out that's what's wrong with you.
Maybe. But I definitely think there's a huge correlation between the two.
You know what? That makes sense. You have the interdimensional beings in all different types of spiritual entities that could be out there. I know I had a shadow man in my house growing up, and it definitely does fit a lot of the descriptions of the grays and the other types of aliens. There's all different types of aliens that are out there, that people claim they're out there anyways. So it's definitely, I think that there could be. I think that a lot of times when we're talking to spirit, you don't know what you're talking to the spirit of.
True.
That could be, I mean, who knows? But
out there, yeah.
I mean, to say like, here, this in Mike Ricksecker's book, I was given this illustration. I mean, you look at that. I mean, that could definitely be a shadow of an alien. I mean, of course, it's a drawing, right? But it's so close to what it looked like. It's insane. So, Adam Tillery, who does those, is awesome. So, I definitely am in agreement with that. It could be the same. Now, Melvin, he says the problem with the ET thing is that we tend to think of them as only being in this physical universe, which I brought up in the multi-dimensional beings, and we neglect the fact that they are more spiritual type beings that are multiversal and interdimensional. It's very complicated and hard to truly understand it all. And that, I mean, how that is so true. And there's so many different things that we can get into when it comes into this. I mean, there's different time theories and different all different dimensions, right? There's
absolutely.
So and honestly, I mean, it's 9:37 here. I'm sure that we're probably cutting into your guys' dinner time now. I don't want to get too deep into this. So but still, Melvin, I think it's 100% right. Now, there's other places that have a lot of energy, and a lot of it is very a magical type of energy. One of my favorite places actually is Sedona, Arizona. Have you guys ever gone there?
We just got back there. We used to, when we were growing, when the kids were younger, we used to go camping out there all the time.
Nice.
At Oak Creek and, Grasshopper Point, all that kind of stuff.
No, we've investigated that entire area. Yeah. There's definitely something interdimensional happening there too.
Sure.
And we've done a lot of like day hikes.
Just going in the woods. I mean, I remember one time our son was probably only like 6, 7 years old, and he was walking in front of us, and he's like, "Mom, Dad, there's a little girl skipping, and she's wearing a dress, and I don't know where her mommy and daddy are." And we're like, "Okay, he's losing it." All of a sudden, this little girl comes skipping by in this dress. And we're like waiting for her parents, and we're just sitting here like.
Yeah, she like disappeared, dude.
Yeah, she just disappeared.
We had to like tell the rangers and everything, but we were in an area which is called the Secret Wilderness Area in Sedona, just past West Forks, and there's books about it. Tom Dongo did a really great job explaining some of those areas in one of his books, and I had followed his work for a while, and I kind of retraced some of his footsteps and some of his stories. And we went there intentionally, trying to see like, is it different? Is it an energy thing? Is it not? But it got so uncomfortable and so disorienting.
It even made us angry.
It was weird.
Like all of a sudden we got in this huge argument over nothing. I mean, seriously, it was like over nothing. We just started arguing. And then as soon as we walked past this part in the forest, it was like it was all over. We looked at each other like, what just happened? So yeah, it was that area is very, I will say, even going up in the red rocks and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. I will say, if you ever need, I know I can go up there and I feel energy. I feel like I feel energized when I go up there. I really do. I feel refreshed. Being down here in the valley, you don't feel it that very often. There's no water, no nothing around you.
Right.
But going up in Sedona and all that, I get energized really good up there. So we take trips all the time up there.
I used to live in Tucson for a while, and I would go up to Lemon Mountain. And Lemon Mountain was phenomenal for me. It just blew my mind how you could go from the desert to this just amazing, just like, what? It's like, I even went crawdad fishing up there. I'm like, there's crawdads in the desert? What is happening right now? I mean,
It's weird in Arizona.
Sedona is so cool though, because it is. It's right there on that borderline where the mountains meet the desert.
Yeah.
And I went camping up in the mountains area, not too far from where where Slide Rock was, and we went wandering into the mountains there. And I found the place. Like we ended up on top of this plateau, and we ran in. And I heard some bears, so we turned around. But then we ended up in this other area of this burnt forest. I don't know. This place was just. It was just such an insane experience. Is how it was seriously like walking through different dimensions and walking through different. It was like really weird. And then the next day we went down to the Red Rock area, and that was the one time I climbed up one of the Red Rock formations, and the energy was swirling around me. And this is before I got into paranormal. This is before I ever knew what an empath was. And I just felt energy swirling around me. It almost knocked me over. So I went back down.
They insane. Have a lot of books about missing people. That area is actually one of the #1 places where people go missing. So that's actually, I mean, something we've tried to reach out into just all different kinds of things that's happened. So, I mean,
I think the longer you're into the paranormal, you start opening your mind, obviously, to a lot of different things in order to really better understand. Like, I mean, we're kind of at a point, I think, her and I mean, I've been doing this forever, but I mean, us together almost 20 years. And it's like, with that being said, it's like you kind of get to a point where you're like, well, maybe there is something to these UFO sightings. Maybe there is something to these Bigfoot reports. Maybe there, you know what I'm saying? So you start opening your mind more and more. It's like you're like leveling it up. I don't know if you want to call it that.
It's weird how some of these stories of the missing people, like, they just vanish. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand things do happen. I mean, but how many have done that?
Some of the stories they talk about what happened, why they were gone. I mean, obviously, I have the huge story up. What is it called? Fire in the Sky. Mm-hmm. In Arizona, where the person was abducted allegedly. He goes around to conventions a lot too now. Yeah. Walton, I think his last name is. I can't recall, but that's crazy. I mean, like, this stuff's out there. Whether it did or did not happen, the only person that's ever going to know that is the person that was directly involved. I mean, to be honest with you, 10 years of law enforcement, I wouldn't believe the paranormal stuff that happened to me had I not seen it myself. So I can't really judge clients or people coming up to us telling us stories, because some of the stuff I have to offer as far as stories that I've been through, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a story. But I mean, had I not been through it myself, I wouldn't believe it either. So I don't shame people for like, oh yeah, Travis Walton. Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Travis Walton. Melvin's out of Los Angeles. He's
not too far away.
Yeah. So and he says Sedona is so strange. A friend of mine used to live there. She saw all sorts of things, both ET and spirit. I personally think it's some type of super portal there. Actually, I'm curious of Sedona has a ley line connection with the Bermuda Triangle and the Dragon's Triangle, because it's sometimes something happening there for sure. Now, can people slip through these doorways and these through these areas? I mean, there's all sorts of stories. There's the Alaskan Triangle. I mean, there's all sorts of stories. There's a story of a man down in Florida who made a amazing time in an airplane because he lost a bunch of time. And there's stories like that all over the world. Where
we had an incident last year, and it was on Haunted Case File Season 2, and then Ghost Adventures picked it up. It's a place called Lutz Casino in Yuma, Arizona. And we were told that there was a vortex inside of this hotel. I didn't really listen to it, 'cause at the time I was just kind of like, I don't want to hear about that. I just want to find it myself, kind of thing. Marie kind of went off looking for something. And when Marie, I call it Blair Witching, she just kind of lights are on, but nobody's home kind of thing. So I followed her through this hotel, and we ended up down this hallway. Marie got scratched pretty violently. And we both experienced a time slip. And the only way I can describe it is we weren't here. We weren't there. We were like in a completely different time, in a different place. And we both described that same feeling later on at the same time, really, like what we were feeling. But it was the first time I've ever come in contact with something that severe of a slip. But like
it felt like hundreds of hands just grabbing you. And honestly, and I completely felt like I never was going to see my children again. I mean, that is what I had. And
that's what we both described afterwards.
I was like,
is that we
it
thought
was
we
the
weren't coming
most
home.
terrifying feeling I've ever felt. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I want is my kids. So it's like, wait a sec. But one thing was interesting. After we filmed Ghost Adventures and did that, we met up with some other people that they actually interviewed, and we've never met before.
No, never.
They had the exact same experience.
Actually, her name is Luca. She's an amazing, talented medium out in Yuma. She might even be on here watching. She follows a lot of stuff that we do. I remember like seeing the interview with her and Zach, and she starts talking about hands reaching out, and I look at Marie like, no way, dude. Like, this is crazy. And it's that validation that's just like, wow, that really happened. But no, for us, that slip in time, like it felt like we were just completely somewhere else. And
our team was only like 2 rooms away from us.
And we were screaming.
We were screaming.
Yeah.
And they couldn't hear us.
I mean, literally, it'd be like, what were we, 25 feet away?
And they had recorders on and everything. Nothing of us screaming. We were screaming. So, I mean, it was.
They didn't hear me until I finally kicked down the door
of
base camp and was like, screaming at them why they didn't. Like, we didn't even hear anything. I'm like, how could you not hear anything? The door was cracked open. We were down this hall and like nothing. Yeah. So it just validated our experience even further. But then again, at the end of the day, it's just an experience. Yeah. But but for us, it's very much so real and scared the crap out of me, to be honest with you.
I don't know. You say it's just an experience. I mean, those experiences can be life-changing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was one that I will never forget for the rest of my life, and it definitely changed things.
I had a similar experience when I went to New Orleans. It completely the past life and just all the different, like you said, kind of like that time slip in that wormhole thing. It completely changed my understanding of who I was, how everything, how we are on different timelines, and the relevancy of our energy and everything. It's like, it blew my mind.
Yeah, so it's almost like sensory overload. You can't even like process it.
I actually have changed a lot from that. I used to be like the daring person that went into everything. I will honestly say I stayed back now sometimes. Just because that feeling I had, like I was never going to see my children again. And that's my worst fear.
I mean, it'd been like, literally like it felt as if we would have disappeared and vanished and no one would have knew where we were at. Like that's where it felt like we were at that level.
And if I feel any close to that feeling, you can ask Jay. I don't even go into any place anymore. It's like,
it makes you more aware.
It makes you very aware, and you very, that's why I always tell people, everybody always asks us, if you give any advice to like new investigators and stuff. I'm like, honestly, I would recommend not even going out and investigating right away. Go out to ghost tours. Go to some of the ghost hunt events. Go out where people are actually investigating that's done it for so long. And you actually go with them. You're still getting the experience, but I wouldn't recommend just going out and just investigating. I mean, you think you're learning because you're seeing this on TV. That's not learning. So I mean, and that's my biggest thing is about teaching now.
And reading. There's so many books. There's so much literature on like hauntings and not just looking at books about haunted houses, but about energy and how energy works and how energy can't be destroyed and stuff like that. And learning about all those different aspects, it will only make you a better investigator because then you're better to understand the equipment that we use, right? Because most of the equipment we use is an EMF. It's a shadow detection. It's the same stuff over and over again. But to understand why we use that stuff, it's kind of important. And please, guys, if you're getting into this field, don't take residential cases for a very long time. If you ever do, there's no reason for it, and there's no awards you're going to get in the paranormal community for catching a Class A.
Don't do it to get on TV. I mean, don't. I mean, get that number one evidence you think you're going to get. I mean.
To give you an example, like years ago, probably 12, 15 years ago or so, Marie and I, like we caught like the audio evidence, the photographs, the video. And I went to show it to the client thinking like, I'm just badass, right? Like we got the trophy, right? And the client looked at us dead in the face and said, okay, that's great. You validated it, but now what? And I looked at Marie and I'm like, oh my God. Now what? And ever since then, Marie and I have made it a personal mission to go out and be that now what? And not so much focus on the investigation itself, but we live haunted daily. Like I've been haunted my entire life and I'm not ever getting away from it. Marie's inherited this somehow. Plus she's had her own gifts. We're haunted together. So we use our own trials and tribulations with the supernatural to become a testimony to the clients that we serve. So sitting there and having those deep, thoughtful conversations with people, Marie taking them out for coffee or something, talking to them on the phone and being that friend to that person that feels like they're alone, it speaks volumes because most of the stuff feeds off emotion and fear. So if we can diffuse the fear response and our reaction to the paranormal, generally we can lower the level of activity or eliminate it altogether. And that's the kind of stuff that Marie and I really focus on is
taking them out of the home where they always feel the fear and talking to them, giving them advice is the best thing. Sometimes I can't preach this enough. Sometimes you don't need to go in there with all that equipment and investigate a home.
It can make things worse.
You can make it totally worse for the client. So that is the number one thing. I would not recommend if you're out there starting to investigate, do not do residential homes. I mean, even ones that like you guys and us, we don't even really do that many residentials, I bet you, anymore. I mean, I know Jay and I really don't do as many. It's a different breed. Don't get me wrong. If the family really needs help, if we're not able to help, we're going to get somebody that can help.
But that doesn't always mean investigating.
Yeah, it doesn't mean investigating it. So, I mean, there's so many different ways of helping a family in need.
And I understand and agree with that. And I validate what you're saying as discern, because everything or everybody that comes to you, not always you're meant to help that. And if you're like us and we work on a certain level, we have to discern because, sometimes there are things that are a little bit beyond us or, it'll attack us or attack our families or whatnot. Not that I'm a fearful person because I pretty much know who I am and how I work and my gift and my magic and whatnot. But still, you got to have common sense. And you do, and like I said, you do not get into it if you got an ego and if you're hell-bent on getting on TV, because let me tell you what, these spirits will spank your ass.
Yep.
And that's for sure.
That's the truth.
And if they don't spank you, they can harm your family.
Yeah. And that's
100% the truth. And when you go into a home investigation, the thing is that when you go to these more, it's called famous locations, you know what to expect. You go into someone's house, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect spiritually. You don't know what to expect from the owners of the house. So there's more risk than just going into their house. Now, kind of like building off what you guys said about and now what? I have actually learned to ask the client, what do you want from me investigating your house?
That's a great question.
Do you just want the validation? Some people want the validation. They're not going crazy. And some people will be like, well, I want it out of my house. So my response is, well, what if I can't?
That's a great.
What if I can teach you or show you that you can coexist?
Exactly.
There you
Amen,
go.
dude.
And so I kind of build off of there, and I see where it goes from there. And honestly, you learn. When you do these home investigations, you're interviewing these people. There's a lot of wackos out there. There's people who are wacko. There's people who are drug addicts. There's people who want you to be their nightly entertainment. There's so many different things that you need to try and learn to filter out.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, we had his house and they completely act like, the whole entire time we thought this house and they gave us all this activity that was happening in their home. We get there and we were their entertainment for his wife's birthday. And they were smoking pot and everything. And I'm like,
bill and says, here's a tip. And I'm like, what?
And we're like sitting here like, we're not here to investigate. Well, yeah, we just thought you could play around with your equipment. I'm like, huh? I'm like, so yeah, it was, so it does happen. So it's screening.
And even for us in the beginning, like Marie and I, we experienced our own haunting together, and it was a very dark one at that. And we reached out to the local paranormal community, clergy. We were all denied, and I was pissed back then. I was like, "Oh my God, how dare these people not help me?" Right. And now I look back at it several years later. I go, "How blessed was I that those paranormal teams that I reached out to said no, because they weren't prepared for it. They didn't know how to deal with it. And that clergy wasn't prepared for it. Now we dealt with it ourselves and we learned how to deal with it and kind of live in the balancing act between both the living and the dead. We did that. But had they come in, they could have been 10 times worse, you know? And this is like earlier on when we were reaching out for help, so.
And that's what I have found too, because I move within my gifts and my elements, but I'm also I move in the modalities of my spirituality, and a lot of these places that you go in, some of the people who are not versed in what's actually there are these spirits, because I've been through the, me being and my understanding of voodoo to everything else, and conjure to everything. These are some spirits that come up that you just are not ready to deal with. And you just you can't go in there and just stick your finger in there and talk them and think you're going to come out and it's going to be A-okay, because let me tell you what.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, as investigators, we get to leave. What we do, the people who live there have to deal with the mess that we leave behind.
Exactly.
So you have to keep that in mind. And you know what? There's one story that I'd love to tell though. We were going to do this investigation. We did a pre-visit, and this house had activity. I saw movement. I saw the activity there. But so when it came for us to do the investigation, we showed up. We told them to please find a place for your dogs, have as few people here as possible. We need to eliminate everything. We showed up there. There was 2 more dogs there. There was even a cat there that wasn't there before. And there was like 5 other people. And we're like, hey, you know what? Obviously you guys aren't ready for us. We'll come back when you guys are ready for us. And we turned around, we left, and they were super pissed off at us. I was like, all right, well, we're not your circus clowns. I'm not a monkey. I'm not gonna, but that's that. Honestly, that did happen.
And I remember somebody having a gun.
Oh yeah, we got locked in a house.
We got locked in the house. We went into this house.
In Awatuki.
And a guy literally locked us in. And I sat down on the couch like, okay. And there was a gun sitting right in there. And I'm like, nope, I'm out. And I'm like, nope. Yeah. So, I mean, stuff, strange.
And I think what bugs me, and, I bet Marie has gone through the same thing, being gifted like she is as well, is that people expect us to perform. That is just, we go in there and they want some convoluted Hollywood version of bullshit of, excuse my language. And I'm no Long Island, I may talk how I talk, but I'm no Long Island Hollywood chick. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to you know who I'm talking about. So, I mean, it's just, if you want Hollywood, but I'm here to do a service. I'm here to help you. If you're expecting anything else, then you're going to pay me $200 an hour, and I will fulfill whatever role you need, as far as like whatever you know what I'm saying? It's just like people have this idea of us, and it's just like, I'm just like, it drives me nuts that they think that, what we do is not, they don't understand the energy. They don't understand everything, the dynamic of what it takes to do what we do. Or like, I'll stop doing ratings, because I'm not going to do it for $20. I'm not.
For $200 an hour, I will put a sheet over my head and I'll run through the house and act like a ghost.
Right?
I'll do whatever it takes. Give me $200 an hour, please. I want that kind of pay in my life. My wife wants me to get paid that kind of money. So
yeah, I mean, I got bills to pay. Look, I got nails, I got gas, I got stuff. I gotta look like a diva. So that's all expenses, So and
real quick.
I will say one thing about cases, if we do go on. First thing I even tell any of them, before we even get there, our case manager will tell them, like, yes, if you're expecting Marie to read you, don't. Because number one, I won't do any readings of the person that I'm going into the home. I'm already getting weakened. My energy's being taken away already. I'm not doing readings. I won't read anyone, to be honest with you. I'm not.
Oftentimes, though, the clients that we go to, they don't even know that Marie and I are even showing up. That way, it's not a circus show, anyways.
We try to,
or a TV thing, or whatever.
Right. And for me, like I have my own private clientele that I still do. And if it's a word of mouth and you come to me and I feel like the spirits tell me bada bing, bada boom, I'll read for you. You know, I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is people that try to turn us into circus freaks because they are so curious. Like they need to test us, or they need to prove something that we're real, that we're legit. And I said, look, I don't need to prove nothing to you. You know what I'm saying?
I don't need to prove to anybody what I hear or what I feel or anything like that. And to be honest, my husband can clarify me all the time. I hear him a lot.
Freaks me out.
But actually, I didn't really get freaked out because poor things. Growing up, being teenage boys, I heard everything that happened and I'm like, I busted them all the time. Like, Mom knows, well, do you have eyes in my room? I'm like, yep.
I said, Melvin, now do you think it's possible that the feelings that you have...
now we're going to read it. Okay.
Okay, well, look, I didn't know what was happening here. Look, go ahead, Vanna. Read, you want me to finish now?
I've only had it up on the screen. No, I'm kidding.
Look, I was talking to Marie, okay? All right, so now do you think it's possible that the feelings that you had were intentionally given to you, or was it more of a natural fear?
Was that in the Lutz Casino when we had the time slip?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, was it intentionally?
In a way, I think it was intentionally given to us.
It feels like
both of us, out of our team that was there, are the ones that actually have abilities. The other team members don't really have abilities, or they don't really accept them
or announce them.
But we do. So I think it was easier for us.
And I think it takes a hot minute.
Another thing on our...
Uh-oh.
Did we cut out again?
Oh, you're back?
Oh, we're on, I think.
You're on? You're back.
Yes.
You're back.
But yeah, just that too. I mean, I think there was some
I echo now.
You do.
I don't hear the echo.
I hear the echo.
You hear the echo?
I don't hear it.
The spirits don't want her to talk for some reason. They're like trying to cause some havoc. Stop it. Let me talk.
Jay probably Jay tells the spirit to get me to stop talking. There you go.
I think we're good. I think they stopped. They stopped. You know, they were being bad for a minute. So yeah, what I was gonna say, I think, you know, for me, it takes a half a second. Like when an emotion or a feeling will engage me, I check it, and it just sometimes is this me, like you said, is it something that is being like that intent or that energy being pushed toward us, or is it, you know, our own actual, does it belong to us? I know I've been in places and that I've had crazy things of like, I wanted to drink or I wanted to smoke a cigarette. And that's, I mean, not, you know, every once in a while I like to have a drink, but, you know, I don't know if you've ever had that issue where you felt like you were influenced by a location of where you were at, that you felt like some type of, you know, thought or activity that you wanted to do. Has that ever happened to you guys?
I know we had one of the two demonic cases we've taken out of all these years. I was terrified of this basement in this house. That definitely.
Sorry, our animals are
our dog
crazy.
Is trying to get us off here.
Yeah, our dogs are going crazy underneath us.
I know that they need to go out. We've been on for a while. Sorry, guys. We get sucked in.
No, you're good. But and I was told I didn't want to be in the basement at all by myself. Yeah. But I recall one evening when we were there, and I started yelling at everyone to get out of the basement. I wanted to be there by myself. Now, did I really want to be in there by myself? No, I did not want to be there by myself. But for something came over me to where I had this urge to kick everyone out for me to be alone inside this location. And that was not a feeling of my own. And my team had to actually pull me out of the house and kind of talk to me and like, hey, like what's going on? Like, why do you want everybody out? That's dangerous. You know why it's dangerous, this, and this and that. But I've definitely had that. I think you probably had it more than me.
I get it a lot. Like he always calls it Blair witching. I mean, I honestly, I get in these little things because you have to block things out. And that's how I get into a lot of this. And I literally have to block out everything from everybody talking to, the outdoors noise and, even other spirits that I know really has nothing to do with the house or the haunting. So it's like I'm trying to block out everything. And I will say sometimes it will lead me into places that
are not safe.
And I honestly didn't want to go there, but I went. So, I mean, I have said that, and I've gotten a lot of people in trouble in residential, especially the children. I find their hiding spots. Yeah. It's so weird. I do.
There is this one residential I'll never forget. We were in the basement, of course, right? And so we first, like, I saw a man's face, and like this is before, like, when I see spirit like that, I don't, it doesn't happen to me a lot. It's happening more to me now. I think Zarina like did something to me. I don't know.
What?
But anyways,
I don't get it.
You told me that I was leveling up, so I blame you. So anyways, this. Oh, I know. I better be careful. I'm going to put in a jar. So we were in this basement, right? And this guy, he like literally like right here in my face, and I saw his eyes, I saw his beard, and it was crazy. And so like I was just like, as soon as I snapped out of it, I was like, oh my God, did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? And I turned to Bobby, and he's like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? And I look over at Amber, and she's like stuck. She's literally over in the corner, like about 10 feet away from me, just like this, like stuck. And it was like seriously, like it was the most insane experience. And we captured zero evidence when we were in this house.
Well, I don't like basements either. And I was called to a client's house, and I was down in the basement. Well, what happened is her daughter came rushing up the stairs, and she says, like, Daddy's stuck. Daddy's on the floor. And I go down to the basement, and he is literally like frozen, like paralytic on the floor, and whatever this was had him locked, and he could not breathe. And I started casting and getting this thing out. It went through me and hit me like how a football player hits you and knocks your breath out and whatever. Knocked me off balance, and then it left because I kicked its ass out. But it's that same token of what Marie was talking about. It's like it's that moment where that physical and that mental hits. You're like, holy shit, this really just happened, and this is legit. And then when he was just telling me, the dad, what happened, and seeing someone laying on the floor where they could not move, and it was because something was physically holding him down. That is real deal for me. Like, holy shit, scary,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's it. But this is exactly it, though. When you're doing these private, especially private residences, or if you go to a private business, you don't know what you're walking into. You could be walking into some place where they did do rituals to summon God knows what, right? I mean, I could imagine. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Monroe House. I could imagine being that first team to go and investigate the Monroe House. There's no way anyone could live in this house. There's no way. I've investigated there 3 times. There's no way I could say I would feel right saying, yeah, you know what? Go ahead. Let people move into this house. No, they're doing the right thing with that house. That house needs to be a museum and a place for paranormal research, because there's no way that anyone could be safe mentally to live in a place like that. It'll completely drive someone insane. Now, that whole town is just off its rocker. But, I mean, but you got to, like, understand. Like, I could imagine being like, it's like, but God, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of do wish the that one case, you know, that's just that crazy. But I personally would not say I've come across personally quite as crazy as the Monroe House. As far as like a private residence, because that's just insane. Most of the time, private residences are, I think, you know, have you noticed that like a lot of like requests for private residences, they happen around Halloween and they happen around holidays.
Yeah.
So it's Halloween and holidays. It's holidays when people want to connect with their family, and who knows, maybe their family is connecting with them. I think that people just, you know, a spirit's always around us, and I think that, you know, people are so conditioned to not accept it and to be afraid of it that when something does happen, they're like, oh no, and now everybody's like, call a priest or call a paranormal investigator, and it's really not really necessary. A lot of times it's just, you know, someone stopping by to say hi. So that's what I think most cases are. Every once in a while, you have a case like I never called an investigator for what was happening to me when I was younger. Now that's something that would have been an insane freaking movie, man.
We did not even have investigators, you know, at that time. All I knew is that when I was 13 years old, I said, and I wrote in my journal, I was going to be a parapsychologist. I had no idea at that time. I was writing in my life at 13 years old. I knew that I could see spirits. I knew whatever. And then when everything played out in my life, I still think about writing that in my journal, laying on my bed, and I'm like, but it wasn't a parapsychologist that I came. It was a pair of something else. And I was like, yeah, it was just like, it was just crazy. And it was like, you know, when I knew also just a weird anomaly is that I used to have this girl who used to bully me all the time in school. And she's like, they would chant, oh, witch, you're a witch. Well, when I went back to my hometown, you know, I saw her in Walmart, and she bullied the shit out of me. And I walked up to her, and I said, hey, girl. And I said, you never used to bully me at school and used to chant all that stuff. And I said, guess what? I am a witch. And so what happened, she actually hugged me, broke down and cried and apologized, came to my house, paid me for a reading, and we were friends ever since. So let me tell you, you can bend your enemies to you, even if it's 23 years later. So I don't know. I just had to tell that story because I'm just saying, it made me feel good.
Melvin has another question. Melvin has his own podcast, and he comes up with the greatest questions. So I like to share his questions. He wants to know, what ultimately would you like to accomplish being in this field? What is your end goal? And then he continued on, and with private residences, how do you explain to someone that their property might not be haunted if it might be something more mental? Oh, that's a fun topic to have. So,
well, actually, Marie and I, we've been for years focused. I work behavioral health, and I worked law enforcement prior to that, dealing with mental health issues. So, really bridging the gap between mental health and the paranormal. We raised a son that was featured on Adventures Aftershocks, who's autistic, who also experienced paranormal phenomenon. Marie's grandmother experienced dementia, but also at the same time was having very real encounters with the supernatural. So I think both of us, to answer that, I think is both pretty much, I'd say we have to agree, is that the end game would be able to shed more light on that particular topic. I've been fortunate enough to be called into educated doctors' meetings, psychiatrists and whatnot, on the down low. And them explaining paranormal activity from children, and then asked to give insight. So, and then providing them and shedding the information that I know, given, you know, their college education, and mental health and behavioral health, and really been able to make some huge breakthroughs, and helping psychiatrists understand that there is another side to this world. That it's very much so real, and just because a person's suffering from autism or dementia or Alzheimer's, that they could in fact really be experiencing some very intense paranormal activity. I believe that those people that suffer from those debilitating illnesses or whatnot, their veil is much thinner. So much like children are much, they're fresh from their creator. As we get older, our bodies are returning back. Our souls are starting to cross. So as Alzheimer's, dementia, I think that plays a big role. Autism, that's all ages, right? But end goal, I think, would be for us, because of what we've experienced with our own child and our own family.
I would love to. I watched my son be tortured by the paranormal for so many years. My end game is honestly to feel like I've done something is to actually be able to give answers and actually help 100% all the children out there that are suffering from the paranormal. Because a lot of people will just say, oh, it's because you have mental illness, or you have autism, you have. So, I mean, I would love to be able to give them more answers. And I will honestly say, there are a lot.
You do a lot. You help a lot. If this woman right here, she's not speaking highly enough for herself. I can't tell you how many families that she has impacted directly by sharing her story about her son, Stephen, and the things that we've gone through. She's absolutely changed people's lives like dramatically because of what she's learned in the paranormal, being able to see what we've dealt with our own son. She's done amazing things. So she's not speaking very highly of herself.
Well, I'm very passionate. I mean, when you do have a child that has something like that, you 100% will do almost anything. And I look at all children as my own in a way. I mean, I would love to assist any families that's, going through anything. So I'm willing to always do that. On the other question he asked is, how do we tell some families that, because there's a lot of residentials, we went in there and there is nothing in their home. Number one, the person that we went to, they believe their house is haunted. I'm not going to sit there and say their house ain't haunted. I'm never going to say that. Now I will tell them that the noises that we believe you're hearing is your house cracking or your house, going into the ground, sounds from, crackling of your door, you give them explanations, and we 100% do that. But I'll never tell anybody that their house is not haunted after they say their house is haunted.
What happens sometimes too with people that mentally think that they have a haunting, meaning that they feel like as if all these noises they're hearing are ghosts or something. They inadvertently, what I call, create their own Mr. Potato Head ghost, right? So sometimes I've seen people create their own poltergeist due to their own fears of noises that were in the beginning naturally explained, but because they've introduced so much fear and they've almost manifested a spirit in themselves that it's become an issue. So we never try to do it. I've never, in the entire time of me doing this, I've never told the person's resident or residential that their house was not haunted. Because the reality is, we're there maybe 6 to 8 hours, maybe once, twice, 3 times, maybe of course of a year we come out there 6, 7 times. It's still, they're living there 365, 24/7. We're not going to always catch and line up evidence-wise, like what's what. So we just have to kind of like try to find what can be natural.
We try to teach them ways of being able to maintain what they're going through and stuff like that. I mean, and I will say in a lot of those cases, I totally think it's just them sort of, having something wrong with them a little bit. I mean, we do recommend going to doctors, psychologists, and stuff like that. We do 100% do that a lot more now than before, I will say. We can't make them, but we do suggest it.
It was a huge liability too. I mean, you have to be really careful. I mean, if someone has an underlying pre-existing condition, like with mental health or behavioral health, serious depression or something like that, and we go in there and say, hey, we caught this audio that said, get the F out of your house. Well, then, I mean, we have to leave there, just like you said, Sean. Like, we're only there for a short amount of time. So, I mean, if we were the last persons there, and then the homeowner accidentally, they hear this new news about their home and they end up hurting themselves or their family, God forbid, then, I mean, you're held responsible. So there's a lot of legalities that people aren't looking at anymore in the paranormal that they really should be. This isn't a fun weekend adventure. If you're serious about doing this stuff, there's huge liabilities. There's waivers that need to be signed. There should be a more intense background check that you're doing on these individuals prior to coming there for their safety, for the safety of their family, and the safety of yourself and your team. Because, I mean, like I said, we've been locked in houses. We've been crazy people that were like, trying to conjure demons while we were in the house and all kinds of stuff. We've been through hell and back with these people. So like, and it's not that they're bad people. It's just that they just, you got to screen. And sometimes you got to learn how to say no. If you're a new team and you're all happy because you got all those flooded in your emails in October because someone thinks their house is haunted, I mean, you might want to pass it on to somebody else or ask if you could chat to another paranormal team that has more experience dealing with that kind of stuff. So that way you can learn how they deal with it and kind of learn your own way from there. But I mean, it's a huge liability going in someone's residential home. I just can't stress that enough.
Yeah,
I mean, you really get yourself in legal trouble and in jail.
Yeah.
So be careful.
100%. You are 100% about that.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, you need to make sure you're covering yourself. Make sure you have those forms. And when you have those forms, make sure you have a lawyer look at it. Make sure that they can stand up in court. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot more that you're risking than just the paranormal. And even the paranormal is extremely risky.
Oh, yeah.
I've worked a couple cases that it's just like, yeah, I should have never had anything to do with that, and it's not because of the paranormal. I'm lucky that I didn't end up in trouble especially with this one case. Like, wow. So it's you got to be careful. You got to make sure you're covering your ass always. And the thing is that you have to be careful what you do give as explanations. Me personally, I'll never definitively say it's paranormal. I'll say, hey, look, this is what I found, and this is what it could be, but I won't definitively say anything because of that. I don't want somebody coming back and then using it, like coming back with some sort of mental illness or something, and then having it come back on me some sort of way. And it's you have to be so careful. Always, always cover your ass, because you don't want that lawsuit. You don't want to get in trouble because you're trying to help somebody. So
Melvin has another question, Sean.
Yes, he does.
I love my Melvin.
Out of curiosity, is it optimal to stay at a place, whether it be a residence or historical site, for the night, or would it be better to stay for less and say let's stay for a few days? And sometimes think the energy could be shy and needs to get to know you first, just like you're trying to understand it. So I think I may have misread that a little bit, but I think what he's asking is, like, do you think it's better to stay there a long time, or is it better to be there for shorter increments so you can kind of get used to the energy and the energy can get used to you?
I think ideally, I mean, back in the day, if like Ed and Lorraine Warren, they would stay, numerous days in the home, and they'd be more consistent with their stays at locations. I believe that we're lacking in that in the paranormal community these days. And I believe a lot of it is because of liability and fearful of, like, you staying there. Now you have a team staying there for a duration of time. And that means you're going to be carrying liability insurance and everything else, because if you get accused of something while you're there.
And most paranormal investigators have day jobs, because being an investigator is not. You're not getting paid.
So, but I mean, ideally, if you can stay in a house for a duration of time, maybe a couple of days, to get a better idea and a feel for the house, I think that's ideal. But unfortunately, because investigators have day jobs, like you said, you're kind of screwed in that a lot of times.
I will say, like, historical sites, I feel like the spirits there, with me, I feel open almost all the time I go there, especially if I allow it. He said he butchered it. But I will honestly say, Jay will say, being at Vulture City as many times as we had, they do seem more open up to us a lot more.
We're familiar.
Yeah, I mean, like, other teams will come and investigate it and like rent out the whole town to, for YouTube channels and all this stuff. And they won't catch anything. They'll come up to Jay and be like, okay, is this place even going on? And then Jay goes with them, and it seems like it goes crazy. So I do believe places do feel calm. I mean, more, at ease with certain people that have been there a lot of times. I know we've gone to locations where I will honestly say I didn't have any experience, but some of the paranormal investigators that have been there a lot have gotten experiences there. So, I mean, I do believe it does happen. If you're there more, it might happen.
You know what? I sometimes wonder, especially, going into a place that's never been investigated before, what is the best way to gain that communication? So the more times you go there, the spirit may not only be getting to know you, but they're also learning how to communicate. Because I'm going to say most times, people weren't trying to gain communication. I do find myself more and more now telling clients, stop recording in your house. You're asking for this. But most times people aren't asking for it, and they're, whether it's an RT or if it's through ITC or what have you. I mean, how can you expect the spirit to know how to work a REM pod, right? So that's why I like trigger objects, because I want to attract it and gain the curiosity so that they maybe unintentionally communicate. But that's what a lot of it is. It's learning from each other. How do you learn how to communicate with the spirit that's never asked or been asked to communicate with us before?
And that's what I say, like at Vulture City, like I've taught a lot of the spirits how to use all the devices that we use.
That's awesome.
And it's taken a lot of time to do that. But I mean, now, like she said, if a team's not getting anything, mostly because, like I always like to say, ghosts are people too. And unfortunately, sometimes you get people that come out that are really aggressive with the spirits. And like, I'm sorry to say, if ghosts are people too on that theory, and you're yelling and cussing at them, probably not going to get a good response anyways.
Right.
If I come in and I'm talking to them like I normally do, and then immediately they pop on, and everything starts going off, I'm like, well, what are you, some wizard? Like, no, they're familiar, to me.
I will say we've been blessed to be able to travel so much, being invited as guests at different events in all different states, traveling to do investigations with other teams. Yeah. We've learned a lot of different techniques from so many that everybody knows. I could say from Grant Wilson to Zach and Aaron, John Zappis.
The local teams out here in Arizona.
Yeah, the local teams here in Arizona.
A much name behind themselves.
Yeah, Debbie Branning. That woman is so crazy about knowing great author, amazing about the history of Arizona.
And that's what's cool about the paranormal is like, I think sometimes we forget the network and stuff.
Yeah.
We're just so focused on what we're doing. Is that and I'm not trying to say I'm pro unity or not or whatever. I'm just trying to say networking, reaching out to local teams and getting to know them and getting a second opinion. I think that we need to see more of that.
I love the gap we have. If we needed to speak to somebody from the East Coast, I know the Lynches. We are right there in Ohio with you. I am from all the way to Eric and Stephanie in Georgia to Sasha in New Orleans to Keith in Texas, to Brian and Charlie in California, and the Michelle and Reno, and Lisa. It's just, and then you guys, we meeting you guys tonight. You guys would be added to, you just learn so much for so many people. I learned something from people that's never even been paranormal investigating before.
100%.
So people that just go down on a tour. If you're open to learn, keep it open. And that's what I tell everybody. I'm willing to learn anything. I'm not an expert. I'm not. I will 100% I'm not an expert. Yes, I go out there and I try to be as professional as I possibly can, and try to give my best, but I'm not an expert. I have a lot of experiences. But that's it.
Definitely. It's so cool. You're right. You can meet so many cool people in the field. There was one time I finished an investigation, and it was at a historical location, and I had an experience, and the owner told me of another team that had a similar experience to mine. And they said that maybe I should reach out to them. I was like, you know what? I will. Let's see. Maybe we can learn something from each other. And I messaged them, and right away, and I told them, I'm a experienced investigator. This isn't my first time or anything. And I explained that what I sent them, and they still started talking down to me and I'm just like, wait a minute. I had to literally tell them, wait a minute. why are you talking down to me? Like, we could be like learning from each other, but instead, because I came to you asking you for your input on experience so we can compare experiences, I'm like, why do I feel like I'm being attacked right now? I'm like, that's not okay. That's not what this is supposed to be about.
No.
Well, there's too many trophy hunters out there in the paranormal. That's the problem. You know?
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys, let's work together. I mean, you're not going to learn everything about the paranormal just based on your experiences and your team's experiences. There's so many more experiences out there. You're missing out. My saying with life in general is, once you stop learning is when you start losing.
There you go. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we've lost some friends that we thought were friends. I mean, I guess they weren't. But I mean, just because, I mean, Jay and I are no contest with anybody. I mean, I will be the first one to
Contrary to some people.
people think that I'm not in no contest. I'm not, you know what? I root all and everybody to getting on TV or doing whatever they're doing. Right on. I'm not in a sorry, I don't live my life for other people like that. I mean, I'm living my life. But we've lost some people, I mean, that we thought were good friends. But you just got to weed out those bad ones. I think Mish made a good comment one time. You just got to weed out the bad ones and then the good ones will be there. And it is true. I mean, it ain't always going to be para-unity. Because I mean, that word I think has been used a little bit too much in a way, but I support it in a way too. So it's like, it's hard to say it in that way.
Disrespecting other people.
Yeah. Learning from people, you know, and just, you know, I'm sorry to say, if you have a haunted location, let others be in it. I mean, why are you not going to let others in there? Are you hiding something? Are you lying about something?
We've managed numerous haunted locations across Arizona, and I mean, you want people to come out and validate what you've seen yourself. You want that place to become known. You want people to come out there and have their own experience. You want to share in that. You want to not feel like you're crazy, is how I feel sometimes. Yeah. So if someone can come out and validate what I've been seeing for 6 months, you know, like, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going crazy. So you guys saw it too? Okay, rad. That's awesome. You know,
I would love somebody to come and tell me I'm crazy. Maybe I might be able to sleep at night a little bit better.
It's all in your mind.
Somebody was asking if we'd create a para-unity video. Yeah, you can do that.
So yeah, that was Nick. I was waiting for a good time. Nick is actually he's a friend of mine, and he's making a video. So yeah, he's asking if you put your names in the credits. So
100%. Yes, we totally support all that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always there to help anybody and everything any of that. Like I said, I mean, even though I say I don't use that para-unity word, but I still respect the unity part of it. So
see, I say para-unity. You know why? Because I like the idea of it. I like the idea of it. And it's
awesome.
idea of it. Is it real? Honestly, unfortunately, most people are too selfish to really get it. But I support it. I want to do that. That's like the main reason why I started the show. I come from a team with Ectovision Paranormal where we had to promote. We spent a lot of money and a lot of time on promoting. I know what that takes. So that's like, I'm like, hey, I get to meet cool people, help free promotion and stuff, and that's really what, and that's promoting para-unity. And para-unity is very cliche, but you know what? Getting into the paranormal because you want to help people, that's also cliche. So I'm just a big old cliche.
It's true.
Because so I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's okay. I mean, the term sucks because it's people overuse it and people say it when they don't mean it, and there's a whole lot of bullshit that comes along with it. But I love the idea.
I think that's the whole world right now, honestly.
It's gone crazy.
The whole world has gone crazy.
Oh, so it's lost its damn mind. I don't know what the hell's going on.
See, she probably knows exactly what I feel. I can't even watch the news.
Nope.
Like, I feel the energy off the TV from the news and everything. I'm like, I literally, he tries to turn the news on. I'm like, turn that crap off. I'm like, I can't do it. I mean, you want to watch you need to wait time out of the house.
And that's the same with me. I can't watch the news, or like there'll be things. I've taken like at least 10 people off of follow or deleted them, because if you're going to post negative, nasty, and continue to be a part of the problem and not part of the solution, and self-facilitating that negative energy and bullshit, then you know what? I'm going to bounce you off my page.
Amen.
That's the beauty part. That'd be about Facebook. You can always push, like,
That's why I always tell people, if no one likes what I do, delete. You don't have to be on my thing. To be honest with you, I've always been the type, ever since, and my mom will even say this, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you like. I don't like what, I don't care what color you are. I don't care that you like Barney the dinosaur. I don't care. I mean, I might not.
Barney.
But I mean, I just, the whole judging of everything, I mean, just all because other people do not have the same opinions or values or anything doesn't mean you have to sit there and bash them and go crazy on people. Everybody is different. That is what makes us human. That's, I mean, all I can say is being human means we're all different.
We see people arguing all the time on social media, especially
it's so sad.
Paranormal stuff, obviously modern day time stuff we're going through, but then see those paranormal drama like crap.
I see that, and then I see everything else. I mean, it ain't even just the paranormal community anymore. It's just like, it's sad to see so much of my friends hating the other friend and going screaming and like, you know, okay, they like one person, you like that person, and you know, who cares? I mean, that doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but just agree to disagree. I mean, that's the easiest way to do that.
Well, same thing happens with paranormal too. You have like certain groups that will be like, hey, don't be friends with this person. And we're in a position where we host a paranormal conference once a year. So we do sometimes get people who are like, hey, you shouldn't have this person, you shouldn't have that person. I don't like this person, I don't like them. But Vulture City is always going to be the place where everyone can come together regardless of their differences and be able to hash it out. I mean, we've had people that were arch enemies show up the last year that ended up leaving there that were cool with one another. You know what I mean? That's what we want. We want people to like kind of like get over their differences. And like we all live differently. We all have different, you know, morals, values, and we investigate differently and stuff like that. Doesn't mean one way's wrong or one way's right.
I know. It took my mom many years to accept a lot of things, because I mean, I have friends that are Satanists, I have friends that are Wiccans, I have friends that are Buddhist. I mean, my mom's a very hardcore Christian, very hardcore. I'm not no more. I believe in God, but I will not call myself a Christian. But I will honestly say, like, it was very hard for my mom with like the people I talk to and hang out with and all that stuff. And I'm like, I finally got to her, like, okay, everybody could be who they want to be, you know. You don't have to judge them because of their beliefs.
I agree. I honestly, it's not even our place to judge. I mean,
thank you.
That's, of all the things that I've learned from being Catholic, is it's not our place to judge. And you know, nothing could be more right than that. It's not for me to judge you, but you know what? One thing that I can't tolerate is intolerance. So that's just for me. So all this nonsense that's been going on, it's actually helped me kind of, you know, read out my Facebook page and get rid of some of those. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. You need to be. We all need to be tolerant of each other. We all need to accept each other. The rest of it is just bullshit. Nothing. I mean, seriously, the rest of it's bullshit. It doesn't matter. I don't care who you love. I don't care who you kiss goodnight at night. None of that matters to me. It doesn't matter to me how you pray to God, because you know what? It's the same higher power, no matter how you look at it. You can call it whatever name you want. It's the same higher power. So that's the way I look at it. It's not for me to judge. For me, I need to worry about me. I need to make sure I'm doing what I need to do to make me be the better person, so that I can. I don't. Like I said earlier, I lay in bed at night like, what is the point of this? What's the point of living through this piece of shit life? It sucks. All we want is this like piece of what we call is the idea of happiness, right? What the hell's the point? The only thing I can come up with is to learn to be the best person you can be. What else can there be out of all this shit?
I just want ice cream.
I agree with you on that one. It's Arizona. It's hot. Ice cream is really good.
Right? That's what I'm just saying.
Yes. Oh man, I'll tell you what. When I first moved to Phoenix, I didn't know about swamp coolers. Oh boy, when I first moved there, I learned about swamp coolers, and I learned quick. I broke a lease. Yep. Bye bye.
Yep.
Yeah, make sure it's an AC, not a swamp cooler.
Yep. Say no to that. Oh god, that was horrible. And I was big into mountain biking too when I lived there, and coming home after mountain biking all day. There's all you want is to go into the air conditioner. Swamp coolers, it's like it does nothing.
Somebody came from California to Vulture this last weekend. She's like, how do you guys live here? I was like, we go from AC house to AC car to AC building to AC back into your car.
Well, it's just like back in like Ohio in the winter, you go from heat to heat to heat to heat.
I honestly, I lived in Indiana, Michigan area. I remember lake effect snow and like getting snowed in all the time and all that kind of stuff. So it's just totally different. It's just the heat. But I would say that one thing good about Arizona, it's 3 to maybe 4 months of bad weather sometimes with the hot, but the rest of the year is amazing. So.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
I agree. And that's what I would tell people. Like, you know what? You can go to Ohio and get maybe 2 months if you're lucky, probably more like 2 weeks of nice weather, and then the rest of the time it's just crap. Or you can come here where it's hot for 3 months and it's beautiful the rest of the year.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, that's where I was at. I came back to Ohio because my mom got sick and I needed to help her out, and no, not that I needed to, I wanted to. And then I met my wife, and here I am. I'm in Ohio. This is where I'm supposed to be. So this is where fate led me. So
Buckeye State.
One day I'm leaving this place. I tell my wife that all the time. She's like, "Okay, we can move to South Carolina." I'm like, "No, I need to go the other direction." I was born in San Diego. I lived in Phoenix through a lot of my 20s. I need to be back out there, and I have family all up and down the coast. I need to go back out there, but not to put down the East Coast. The East Coast is wonderful. I take my kids there every year. It's nice, but I don't know. I like dry heat. That's just me.
I always tell people, I was like, "Oh, you got the dry heat." I'm like, "Yeah, but sometimes even when it's 120 degrees, it's still really bad. No matter what, if it's dry."
It's so hot you don't sweat.
Yeah.
Until you go into the air conditioner. Like that's like when I first lived there, I worked at Macy's at the Biltmore, and I would be wearing a suit. I learned very quickly to change when I got there because I rode my bike or took the bus. That's the whole time I lived in Phoenix. That's all I got around by was by my bike. If I had to take the bus, I did, or rode with a friend. But I did that by choice. I loved it. Anyways, so I would walk in to Macy's and just start like a waterfall. And as soon as I got into my nicer apartment, as soon as I would get home, like a waterfall. It's like you got to jump right into the shower. You can't. Oh man, it's so bad. So man, now that I'm like older and fatter, like I couldn't imagine. Like man, I'd probably smell so bad. But it's worth it though because like I don't know. Like the problem is that I took my wife there one spring, and a good friend of mine that worked for a dentist, and they got this like houseboat on Lake Havasu, and we went out in the boat, and I told my wife, I'm like, you need to get out of the sun and drink lots of water. The sun here will trick you and you'll get sick.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get cooked from the inside. I'm telling you, the sun will trick you. And she's like, oh, I'm fine. No, you won't be. Get out of the sun. Nope, I'm fine. I go on tubing and stuff on another boat. Meanwhile, I come back and I find out that my wife did not leave her tanning chair. I'm like, oh. Yeah, sure enough, she was sick the rest of the trip. So now, like, she hears Arizona, all she thinks about is getting sick. I'm like, oh, come
It's sun poisoning. Yeah.
It's a sun. A lot of people don't realize that, like, you got to really drink that water here.
That's crazy. There's some days at Vulture when it's like, for example, it's like 90 degrees during the daytime, and then at night it will drop down to like 58. You know, in a matter of like a 2-hour span, where you're like, what the heck, dude? You go from like sweating to like sweaters. You know.
Right.
Yeah, I would recommend anybody drinking tons of water and staying out of the sun. Yeah, because.
I remember though being in Arizona, being in Phoenix, where the heat gets trapped into the valley, and where it's 118 at night, it goes down to 150 or 118 during the day. It only goes down to about 115 at night.
Yeah.
So what I learned was miserable friends with the security officer, and as long as I was quiet, he let me out.
Yeah, we get stuck. One thing good about where we live, we live in the farm area, so it gets a little bit cooler in our area. So that's the only thing I will say about it. But like,
we lived in Phoenix for years.
Yeah, we lived in Phoenix for years. I remember Phoenix. We were like, oh, I can't wait to this evening, and it dropped like 2 degrees only. And you're like, never mind.
I literally, when I lived in Tucson, I felt like a rotisserie chicken, and I just couldn't handle it.
Oh, you just walk right in it's like you're walking into an oven.
I know. I literally felt like I was practicing for my throne in hell. And like I didn't do well at it, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I tell them all the time. 3 months out of the year, I'm like, I'm moving. We're moving. And then when it hits September, you're like, okay. And then I'm just in love with it all the way until, it gets hot again. So
yeah, it usually starts cooling off in September.
Yeah, September is usually when it starts cooling off.
Yeah. The first year I lived there, I made everyone have a Thanksgiving dinner out on a picnic table only because we could.
Yeah. Only because you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first year I moved here, I thought it was the coolest thing because like I said, I'm from Midwest, Indiana, Michigan. My birthday is December 3rd. I never got to wear shorts outside on my birthday, ever. Unless I wanted to get, frostbite or something. But, I mean, I remember being in Arizona the first year, I thought it was the coolest thing wearing shorts for my birthday. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Definitely. Yeah. Now I need to go to Arizona again.
Just wait till like October, November, December.
I like going in the spring, but yeah, October, November, it's nice then. I don't know. Me, I've always liked the spring just when it's starting to get hot, but I liked it up until 110. Anything over 110 is when it got too hot for me.
That's going to be this weekend. It's going to be 113, and then 116, and I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hot.
Oh, it's getting dark here in Arizona finally.
Yeah. So, speaking of, it's almost, wow, this has been going on really long. Thank you so much for staying on this whole time. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun, and but I didn't really give you guys an opportunity to kind of plug yourselves in your events and stuff so people can find you guys.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in coming out to the second annual Vulture City Paracon, you can go to vulturecityparacon.com. That's vulturecityparacon.com and get your tickets. I know we're almost halfway filled up for our ghost hunt portion and our VIP tickets. So if you're interested in coming out, get your tickets now before it's too late. I know we will sell out. But again, that's vulturecityparacon.com. That will also give you bios on all of our speakers, all of our workshop presenters, and all the people we have coming out. We have a great lineup from John Zaffis is coming out this year. We have Sarah from Ghost of Morgan City. She's coming out. We got a ton of people from anywhere from California all the way, to back east. Sam Beltrusis, he's coming all the way from the East Coast.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of people. So we have a lot of people coming out. And that's the fourth weekend of October. So that's October 2nd through the 4th. It starts out with a meet and greet on Friday night in the town. And then the next Saturday and Sunday, we have all-day vendors, all-day workshops. Saturday night's a public ghost hunt with all the lineup that we have. We're leading that. And then Sunday we end the event with a UFO Skywatch over the town on Sunday evening. So we have a little bit for everybody. We have Patty showing up from Ghost Adventures, who frequently is on the show. She's doing a live gallery reading on both Saturday and Sunday, so that's kind of cool. You get to hang out and meet with her. But we got a lot going on. But to find out more details, VultureCityParacon.com, and we hope to see you guys there.
And we'll be in Washington, actually, August 22nd, doing the, what's the name of the platform?
Yeah, that's great. So we're going to be, so look on our website for that information. If you want more information about Marie and I, you can go to Yates Family Haunting. That's yatesfamilyhaunting.com.
It's a Lewis County Historical Museum. I know that.
Nice. And then the first weekend of August, we're going to be out in Virginia City, Nevada, for Doug Carnahan's event. That's going to be awesome. That's a 10th annual event. Great lineup as well, so hope to see some of you guys there.
Trying to pull it up.
I think a few other appearances here and there, but like I said, you can find us on social media under Jay and Marie Yates or Yates Family Haunting. We'll pull all our stuff up.
Awesome. So
that's
awesome. I wish I was out there closer to you guys. I would definitely come out. Definitely for the Paracon that you guys are throwing. I mean, we spent most of the show talking about Vulture City.
Right.
It's just so cool, man. Now, I saw a post, I don't know how long ago, but I saw a post where they're asking for suggestions or something for food trucks or something.
Uh-huh.
When I was out there, I went to the Heard Museum for a like a powwow, Native American dance competition, and they had Indian taco food truck.
Oh yeah,
That's most amazing food I've ever eaten in my life.
Zarina knows how to make them because
fry bread. Anything with fry bread is delicious.
Yes, because I will make you that, Sean Gilmore.
Well, you better come up to Ohio and make me some.
Well,
I'm weird. I remember calling these how weird when I moved to Arizona. They call them Indian fry bread. Where I grew up in the Midwest, at the fairs they called them elephant ears.
It's very similar to elephant ears. It is very similar.
Yeah. So it's like when I came here, I just amazing what they put on these Indian fry bread. Amazing, yeah. That's amazing food.
Oh, it is so good. I'm telling you, these tacos are amazing.
I do, and how I make mine because I lived in California for a long time. So I do mine with the original Tex-Mex kind of way, and I make the elote and just everything and slice it off. So yeah,
it's making me very hungry.
I know. And I'm, it's funny too because like my son, they cook too, and and I'm half Filipino, so we're either rolling lumpia or we're making fried bread or some other crazy stuff. So we got a crazy household, so it's fun.
Oh yeah, see, when I was there, I got the taco, and then I got the fry bread with the powdered sugar and the honey.
Yes,
so good.
I will say Arizona has the best Mexican food.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And then the native food. Oh my goodness, we're very blessed here.
Our Mexican food is on point. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Wow. There's one restaurant out by me that I really like that's Mexican, and it's good, but it's still not as good as some of the places out there. I miss you get the, I don't know if they still do this. You get the $5 pitcher with the $1 tacos at some places. You get the pitcher of margaritas and you get like $1 taco. Oh, we would go to places like that all the time. But like I said, I was there in my 20s, so it was a different world then for me anyways. So
I think because the minimum wage went up, everything and food prices went up too.
Oh, did it?
So you got to deal with that.
Yeah, so I might be dating myself a little bit. I don't know, but
I honestly remember going to places, especially when Jay and I first dated, because I was always like, to be honest, his family thought I was Mexican. And we used to have to fight with them. Like, if you really see my family, my mom is white as a ghost. I mean, she's white. And I'm like, yeah. So, But
being out here in the summertime, it didn't take much to get dark.
No. But I will say he took us to some place and got like really the tacos. Remember all the tacos you got for very cheap? I don't remember the name of it.
I have no idea. There's so many places in Arizona to go to. It's like I don't remember where it was.
No, you used to take them there all the time, and it was amazing.
Well, so many good places too. So, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that suggestion out there. I have no clue what the food truck is called. I just know that they were Indian tacos and they were amazing.
They were probably a hit, especially people coming out from other sides, stuff like the U.S. and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I want some. No.
I will say
I'm in Ohio. Like I tried making fry bread once. That was bad. And I saw like other things, like there's sayings in Native American culture, like if you mess up making fry bread, then it's supposed to be like bad luck. So, but at least my thing was like if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck. That's what I.
That's what I would say.
That's why you offer them a shot of tequila before you start. So you obviously are giving them offerings. That way, if you mess it up, then it's not going to be that bad.
Oh, that's a good idea. Everyone likes tequila.
I know, right? Zarina knows these things. I'm just saying. You can never go wrong with tequila.
Hey, tequila here is good. Really close.
That's right. Well, tequila is the fundamental religion of everything goes right with tequila. I'm just saying.
Or absolutely wrong, depending on how it may go.
Yeah, well, it's good for offerings and removal of clothing. Other things.
I gotta say removal of clothing. Yes. I remember when we first started dating, he's like, "Hey, you drink tequila?" I'm like, "You don't want to see me drinking tequila in places because I will lose things that I've been wearing." So, yeah.
Well, my love of tequila came when I watched my first episode of a Telemundo called Queen. It's based off of there's an American version now called Queen of the South, but it's called La Reina del Sol because at that time I was trying to learn Spanish, so I would watch Telemundo, and this was my favorite, Mexican soap opera. And this woman can drink the hell out of tequila, and I said, I'm gonna be like that woman. I'm gonna drink the hell out of that tequila.
I do. I like having my margaritas now when we're out at restaurants now.
Oh yes, I'm all about that. And I do love a michelada every once in a while, but they gotta be made good. Have you ever had a michelada?
I've never had one of those.
What's a michelada?
A michelada is they take a beer and they put the Clamato and they put the Tabasco and everything.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
I didn't know that was good.
It's like a Mexican Bloody Mary with ooh,
Those are great. Yeah. I'll take one right now, please.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm the type that can't mix the beer with the liquor. So if I'm drinking beer, I stick with the beer. If I'm drinking liquor, I stick with the liquor. I can't do the mixing. Or you might not want to. He might disown me.
Sean Gilmore, what are you doing over there? You're all quiet.
I'm listening to you guys talk about tequila. Beer, mixing tequila and beer. I one time somebody made me do a shot. It was tequila in beer. It was not the most tasty thing though.
Bourbon and beer. Bourbon and beer. Yeah, Irish Carbons or Boilermakers. Bam.
I had a friend who was a bartender, in my 20s, and he thought he made up like the most wonderful drink because like back then, bomb shots were like really popular. So it's like adding Red Bull with your liquor. So he's like, hey, let's do Red Bull and tequila. Yeah, don't do that, guys.
I do red beer and Jaeger. I love that.
That's different.
Oh goodness.
Don't do it.
Jaeger, any night I remember Jaeger, I don't remember the end of the night. I just remember the next morning not feeling that good.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's a drink for paranormal people. I really,
everybody can see ghosts.
yeah. Every time we go to any of these paranormal events, that Jaeger comes out. Or what is the other one?
Dude, everyone we always hear everyone drinks Jameson.
Jameson.
It's always towards the end of the night. It's like Fireball and Jameson's all over the place, and everyone's passing around.
And I think there's like should be like our go-to would be always go to the Waffle House like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after a ghost investigation or whatever. And we need to go to a ghost hunt, like this whole line of just Waffle Houses that have a ghost hunter thing. I'm just saying, a shot.
What?
Look, you, Letitia. I'm like giving you my ideas, and you're just like on planet
You're
Neptune.
talking about mixing spirits with spirits. That's bad news.
That is not bad news. Spirits like spirits. No, they like spirits.
No, to offer it to spirits, but if you're going into an investigation drinking, I can't. I don't know if that's.
Oh,
okay.
I did not say going into an investigation drinking. I was saying, oh Lord Jesus. I was saying spirits like spirits, and I was talking about a ghost hut, like a Waffle House, but for ghost hunters. You know what I'm talking about?
So, like a bar for spirits?
No.
But you said spirits like spirits, so why not get a bar for spirits? You can call it. You call it a bar. Call it
Marie,
spirits.
Help me out.
I'm only. What?
We're talking waffles now. Where have you been?
I don't know. I'm looking for pictures of my tacos.
He's looking for that taco truck.
I am. I'm looking for the taco truck.
This is why our show is 3 hours long at times, because he is in a Waffle House. I mean, in the rabbit hole, looking for taco trucks in Arizona from 20 years back. This is not back to
this
the
is
future.
a year back. Hold on. This is a year ago.
Marty McFly. We don't have a DeLorean. So
this was a year ago. Okay. 20 years ago.
Okay. 88 miles per hour. Let's go.
I haven't been to a Waffle House in so long.
I don't even think they have Waffle Houses over
down
there.
south. They do. They have them down in South Carolina. I saw some.
I think they have Waffle House, Huddle Hut, and something else. I can't think of another one. But I don't think it go. I know that you guys got In-N-Out Burger over there.
Oh yeah, that's good eats.
You have Jack in the Box too.
You guys don't have Jack in the Box up there?
Nope.
Jackies don't have Jack in the Box. I already told you that.
What the hell is wrong with you guys?
I do remember a restaurant that my teenage years when we totally get drunk. We ended up at a restaurant called Shoney's or something. It was like,
God, they have the best breakfast bar in the world.
Every time everybody drunk was there at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I wouldn't say we were always drinking. We were doing other things too, but we went there to eat.
Girl, I'm gonna tell you, I was about that sausage biscuits and gravy. I'm telling you, Shoney's had the best sausage biscuits and gravy.
Yep.
Yes.
They don't have that here. I will say that. I will say that.
Our after bar spot was always Denny's. We didn't have anything cool. We said stupid old Denny's.
I know.
Bob's Big Boy was my big one I liked going to too.
Oh, we always get Bob's Big Boys when we go to California.
Yeah, because they don't have any really. I don't think we have any in
Arizona.
Arizona.
Bob's Big Boy up north, is there?
I don't know.
Or there used to be.
They closed. There's one restaurant that they kind of like converted to like a steakhouse, but it's about I don't know. But yeah, they're all gone.
Do they have one in LA, like just outside LA, like we go to?
Bob's Big Boy?
Yeah.
Then LA.
Whatever. Yeah.
One thing I know about Bob Evans is more is you go buy that stuff in the grocery store.
Oh yeah, now it's like all. Yeah.
But we have Bob Evans here. Their service has gone down. It's like going to Denny's now.
I always my brother lives in Indiana and his wife loves crystals. So I always imagine this. When I go to crystals down here, I always send her a little shot of the little crystal burgers. And she's just like, she hates me because I'm just like, I was just like, I want to send one through the mail that has that greasy smell of the crystal burger on it. She's like,
crystals is the shit. Yeah, dude. We don't have any of those down here. We just now got a friggin' what is it? White Castle. They just built a White Castle.
And Scott's always running out of food, so we never
even go there because it's like a limit and they don't have it. So it's like I don't even drive.
I finally got to take him to Steak and Shake. Because back east we had Steak and Shake.
Yeah, we got those.
One in Tempe here, and I took him to it.
That's good stuff, dude. Yeah, I have to admit, that's really good.
It's okay.
He's like, it's okay.
You gotta get a
you were
Mr.
the
Hero.
saddest
Find
that
a Mr.
could not
Hero.
find a taco truck.
You gotta find out Mr. Heroes. I know you guys don't. Those are in Ohio. I'm telling you, Mr. Heroes are amazing. Yes, and there's a fast food joint that's Akron, Ohio only, and it's at a place called Swenson's. The most amazing fast food burger you'll ever have. They like put like their special sauce has like molasses in it, and I don't know. It's freaking amazing. It's really good. It sounds weird, but it's good.
Well, I don't think that.
Swenson's. Zarina, you know who loves Swenson's? Gooseby.
What? Gooseby's is my home slice. Just so long as it doesn't have lettuce and we're good. Because you know I have my weird thing about lettuce. There's a whole conspiracy theory about lettuce.
What's this
I might not want to
conspiracy
hear
theory?
that.
Because I remember everybody was scared to eat lettuce, and then the corona came.
No, I just don't like the texture. It's just weird. It just creeps me out.
That's how I am with tomatoes. I honestly cannot eat the tomatoes because of the texture.
It
has
is.
nothing to do with the taste. It has to do with the texture.
It is. It's just too. I don't know. It's just in the smell. It's something about the smell. It just creeps me out. I don't know. So, Sean, are you still looking for that infamous taco truck?
My computer is going really slow. I'm getting really
Yes,
frustrated
because
about
you're
that.
looking for tacos.
Tacos. No, I'm looking for a specific picture of a taco.
We might be here for a long time. I don't know
No, we
about
can.
that.
I don't think it's going to happen today, guys. Because
No, well, we will probably find Bigfoot before that would happen.
I don't know what's going on. My computer is like being really weird. So I have this program that I purchased for a cleaner. It's called System Mechanic, and I went and I put it on my computer, and it worked fine for months. It worked fine. I came back from vacation. It was gone off my desktop, completely gone. So I loaded it back on, and it disappeared again. So then I called their customer service, and they went through this whole spiel and whatever. We got it back on, and now it's gone again. And now my computer is running like shit. I don't know what they did to my computer, but it's not happy, and it makes
it's your
me
FBI agents. They're in there messing with you, taking
Probably.
your shit off the computer because you'd be looking for tacos for hours and stuff. And
I don't know. From being friends with people like you,
what?
They're afraid you're gonna put our president in a jar or something.
I ain't got time for that. I don't even think about that man. I'm presently putting all my exes in jars.
You're too busy putting your exes in jars.
You know that old country song, "My Exes Live in Texas." All my exes live in a jar.
They live in mason jars. I don't know. Like my computer's like done.
I'm pretty sure Jay and Marie are like
done too.
They're like.
With my computer, I can't even get back to StreamYard. There we go.
Done. I know. Look.
Done.
Done.
My computer hates me.
taco life.
You guys have made me very hungry talking about tacos.
I know. You guys, I just realized we just kept you guys for dinner. Now they're going to go have tacos. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Blast, guys. Seriously, more than happy to come back on anytime.
Oh,
we loved you guys. I
yeah.
really enjoyed you, both of you guys. Thank you.
100%. You guys are welcome anytime. If you guys have something you want to promote, or if you guys just want to come hang out, let me know. Definitely, please.
And let us know if you're ever back in Arizona so we can get together.
Yeah.
I will. It'll happen eventually. I don't know when, but I will be. I mean, I've got
heads up and see what we can put together.
Definitely.
Have some tacos.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Thank you again. Guys, go to oh my God. No, I closed my stuff. Go to the yatesfamilyhaunting.com. Go and check out the Vulture City. All right, guys, I'm so freaking fried right now. I think that it's definitely past time for me to go to bed. So thank you again, guys, for coming on.
Thank you for having us. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, guys. You're awesome.
I hope that we helped everybody over their hump day. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Have a safe 4th of July. And please, everyone, stay healthy.
Right on.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, guys.